Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tinfoil Tuesday. We're so back. How's it going? Hope you're having a good Tuesday and good week so far. Yeah. How's it going? Good, I hope. Happy birthday, Halloween Town. Halloween Town, a mod that is here every fucking stream. That's incredible. Thank you, Halloween Town, and I hope you're having a great birthday. I know you asked for me to pick out some birthday conspiracies for you. I did. So we're gonna watch some of those, along with some Taylor Swift stuff, right-wing conspiracy theorists, and conspiracy theorists in general. There's a big overlap. They're freaking out about Taylor Swift, so we're gonna talk about that. They're accusing her of murder, you know, things she didn't do. And we're just gonna hang out, play bingo, all that stuff. So that's cool. We are on a hype train. Just got over level 1. I'll have to go through all the different bits, messages, and everything. Yeah, we're good. Oh, people have sent me some stuff from the, wish list on Amazon. Thank you. There were no notes, so I will assume that you wanted to remain anonymous. Just wanted to say I appreciate it very much. The stuff you got me. Very nice. So thank you. And I think that's about it. Yeah. So just jump into it. Make sure you get your bingo card if you would like to play. Same rules as usual. Let's see what I missed here on the hype train. Fennikagami says, the return of Tinfoil Tuesday. It's good to be back. What else? Fennikagami says, begin the hype train. Altered Undying with 16 months says 16 months. Simple enough. PK the Lost with 38. Thank you. Broha, thanks for 30 months. Saint Sanguine with 100 says, I was so concerned about you. Like, holy shit, are you okay? I'm here. I'm here. So, Lady Anne with 41 months says, January sucked. Here's to a better February. Well, you know. Anyway, so while that hype train's going, let's take a look at some of these, I don't know, little, birthday conspiracies. A lot of them are, like, TikTok length. Apparently people aren't big on creating lengthy video essays on birthdays, but I did get some. So.
You might not want to sing the happy birthday.
Uses AI on the bingo card, because unfortunately this terrible AI conspiracy video uses an AI Joe Rogan voice. Which, in fairness, if you're going to try and convince gullible people to believe nonsense, Joe Rogan's voice, proven track record, just saying.
You might not want to sing the happy birthday song anymore.
I don't want to, but it's not so much a demon thing, it's more just like, I feel like we can do better birthday songs. I'm all for public domain. Happy Birthday went into the public domain, and that's great. I just think that birthdays, what if we wrote everyone a custom birthday theme song, and it's illegal to play the song unless it's their birthday, and on that day, they get to play the song as much as they want, and no one can say anything. I don't know. I'm just saying. Maybe I'm just bored. Maybe I'm just bored with Happy Birthday. MH Dark Beast says, howdy Hannah, really missed you. Did you see the latest development of furries in schools? Yes, the animal control thing. We talked about it. Very, very bizarre, grandstanding bullshit. People are unfortunate.
Have you ever wondered where the happy birthday song originated from or why we sing it?
Because it's people's birthday and we want to be like, yay, your birthday, you're alive, let's celebrate you as a human being.
Is it not strange that every time someone's birthday is being celebrated, candles are lit, lights are turned off, and everyone gets into a circle to chant happy birthday to you, like a witch's ritual?
Not really. It's not a witch's ritual. People celebrate things. I actually looked this up because I was curious. Using candles on top of a cake or some kind of like dessert dish on top of a food or whatever goes back a very long time. The modern usage of birthday candles, earliest is dated back to 17th century France. I looked this up. But before that, it had been used in other ritualistic things, different religions, celebrations to gods, or for different celebrations. Sometimes the idea was that you would blow out the candles, and this ties in, your wishes could be brought up to the gods via the smoke. You kind of blow your wish into the candle and the smoke carries it to the gods. So there's a long tradition of this kind of thing. Humans like fun little traditions. It's not nefarious. It's not nefarious. It's just a fun little thing people do because humans do that kind of thing. Like, the thing it reminds me of, and this is going to sound weird, humans programmed a Mars rover to sing happy birthday to itself every year on the day that it was, like, created or launched or whatever. I don't know the exact date they decided was its birthday. But they picked a date and they have it sing happy birthday to itself. It is on Mars. No one can hear it. But humans like little ritual things. We think it's cute. We think it's fun. It's just a big part of who we are. As a social species, we create mythologies and ideas and symbols that mean things to us. It's what knits us all together. Or it's evil and demons, whatever. There's a hydrate. Hold on, I actually need to pop out my rewards thing. Thanks for the level 1 hype, everyone. Hydrate can do. Fennikagami says, watching Dead Domain cover that conspiracy wingnut who killed his father being disavowed from the right made me realize the only time conspiracy theorists and far-right people seem to be self-aware about how inhumane and ridiculous they sound is when they're disavowing someone. Oh yeah, it's a cognitive dissonance thing. Like, the second that it makes them look bad, look at what happened on January 6th. That's why you got the conspiracies of, like, oh, it was Antifa, it was the CIA creating Antifa, sleeper agent, you know, type bullshit. Because they don't want to see themselves as crazy. If they see the reality of the situation and identify with that, then they're like, oh my god, I have to realize what I'm doing is wrong. And that's not an easy thing to do when you're delusional, believe me, I know. Delusions are a hell of a drug. It's the date it landed on and turned on. That makes sense.
It is very well documented that the past humans used to live hundreds of years old.
No, again, that's something that conspiracy theorists will bring this up a lot. It comes up in the Bible as well as other cultures. Sometimes culturally there was a thing where humans would express someone's age, but it wouldn't be literal. The amount of respect a certain leader or king or historical figure or elder would have historically would not be literal, but it would be indicative of how wise and how much they accomplished. So in the Old Testament, when it says, like, Adam lived to be 900 years old, Noah lived to be 800 years old, whatever, these aren't literal, but to the people who wrote these stories, that was a signal through the writing. It was a signifier, a symbol that they were respected within the story that they were telling. You know what I mean? It's interesting trying to explain how to separate the symbol from the symbolized, because we use them so often that we don't really think about it. It's unfortunate. When you gotta actually take a step back and realize what you're doing when you're speaking, how you're interpreting what you are trying to say versus the words you are saying. Can you get your bingo sub? You sure can. Let me get that for you real quick. While I'm doing that, I'll continue the video.
And now, even though we're apparently so advanced, lifespans are starting to decrease. Legend has it...
Well, that has more to do with lifestyle and the economics of the situation. Like in the United States, for instance, we have a lot of issues with staffing in hospitals, and you see crises with, like, nursing and stuff, where a lot, especially during COVID, turned to doing travel nursing, where you go from hospital to hospital because they made more money. The economics of the situation are not in a place where it's making things good. People don't get preventative health care. They live less healthy lives in some cases due to whatever their lifestyle is. And I'm not telling you that it's entirely up to individual people. People live in food deserts. People have a lack of education about nutrition and stuff. These things lead to people having worse outcomes. It's unfortunate. It sucks. It's not evil, though, in the sense that you're talking. It's not demonic. It's not a plan. It's a dysfunctional system that we find ourselves in due to the nature of historical inertia. Okay, let's see. Aaliyah Explores, thanks for 34 months, says yay Hannah Stream. And Revolver Asathot with 21 months. Thank you very much. If you get a sub baby today, can you name it? Sure, Halloween Town. Absolutely.
That the Happy Birthday song was...
The song was originally another set of lyrics called Good Morning to You. There was a lawsuit over it being used for Happy Birthday. Yeah. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Yeah.
Was actually created as a curse by fallen angels to hide a ritual that seals your fate to grow older, controlling the population and controlling the human civilization.
Are they aware that not everyone in the world sings Happy Birthday? Like, what they just said seems to indicate that they think that aging only occurs because you are taking part in a ritual that binds your soul to a demon that ages you, and that's what the Happy Birthday song is. But A, the Happy Birthday song is a relatively recent thing, and it's localized to the United States or places where we have exported our culture. Like, it's not like Happy Birthday has been something people have been singing since the beginning of humanity, or it's universal. That's a very American thing. What in the world?
Many believe that every time you perform this ritual, you perpetuate and speed up your aging.
Who? Many people? Who are the many people? Name the people!
This song is pretty much the first thing that kids have been taught, tricking them into this ritual from a young age.
They have a year to learn things. What are you talking about? They probably don't even hear the birthday song until they're
When
one.
did you first
And even if they do, that's not the first thing they learn. It's a weird statement. Mr. Duck Sauce, thanks for 4 months. How you doing? Hello. Sources indicate. Yeah. Annoying. Oh, let's see. That last video was Ancient Wisdom, Demons. We'll take a look after the birthday videos. But that's what I have so far. And the AI. Using AI.
Happy birthday to you.
I'm gonna skip past the weird kid thing.
They started. Have you ever wondered where the celebration of birthday started?
Probably people being like, yay, I lived another year on this unrelenting hellhole of an earth where we're hunting, subsistence hunting for a living. I assume birthdays predate agriculture. I guess I don't know that. I'm not an anthropologist. I don't know that. But, like, doesn't it kind of, as a human being, make sense to you why you would celebrate that? Like, you exist. People like existing. Generally, they like themselves. So why wouldn't they celebrate the day that they were born? Even if you don't like yourself, people like their kids, usually. Wouldn't you be like, yay! Our child lived another year. Again, we lost 7 to cholera, so thought we'd celebrate this one, making it another year. People like each other. Again, for the most part. People want to hang out and celebrate things with each other. It's not evil.
In the simplest of terms, it is a time for family and friends to come together and celebrate you, the anniversary.
Do I think a D&D campaign set in a world where the conspiracy theorists like this guy were right would be a cool setting? Been looking for a good campaign for my groups, as the DM is out of ideas. That might be fun. There are a lot of ways you could take it. You could take it seriously. What I would probably do, because I'm me, is I would make it a joke of almost, it's a universe where all conspiracies are true, but because of that, there's a lot of competing conspiratorial organizations, so it still kind of functions like a world like we live in, with a lot of people just working for their own interests against each other and parallel to each other and intersecting from time to time, but it's kind of goofy. And maybe knock-on effects, like, what's the effect of a group trying to spread chemtrails in a world where we live on a flat Earth that's being hidden? And maybe the chemtrail people don't know that we live on a flat Earth, so when they try and spray chemtrails, they just are harming the dome? You know what I mean? I would think about weird shit like that and make it part of the cosmology. That sounds fun, actually. Anyway. Fennikagami says another part of the cognitive dissonance is they believe they're immune to being tricked and are way smarter than anyone who could try to trick them, despite their disavowing rely on them being tricked. How many chuds have lampshaded about being watched by the FBI, claimed that they can easily spot a Fed and that the Feds are directly wasting their time watching said chud. Yeah. Thank you for 22 months. And we're caught up.
Of your birth and another year of life under your belt, but there's so much more to it than that. Scholars who study the Bible say that the earliest mention of a birthday was around 3000 BC and was
Ancient wisdom on the bingo card, but it's also frustrating to me that it seems like they're indicating that they think the Bible is the only text that you can look at to find mentions of things. The fact that they said biblical scholars frustrates me, and I know biblical scholars are a thing, but specifically that indicates to me that he is refusing to look outside of that.
in reference to a pharaoh's birthday. But further study implies that this was not their birth into the world, but their birth as a god. When Egyptian pharaohs were crowned in ancient Egypt, they were considered to have transformed into gods. This was a moment in their lives that became more important than even their physical birth.
I imagine, first of all, Egypt is like a really, 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 really big topic. Like, there's a reason there's entire fields of study in Egyptology that aren't just Egyptology, but like Old Kingdom, New Kingdom, specific eras and region. Like, you gotta be more specific. But also, no, I very much doubt that the pharaoh was the first person to celebrate something that could be analogous to a modern birthday. I just don't think that's true.
Pagan.
Even what you're describing sounds closer to the celebration of some sort of coronation than anything else, but okay.
Such as the ancient Greeks, believed that each person had a spirit that was present on the day of his or her birth. This spirit kept watch and had a mystic relation with the god on whose birthday that particular individual was born. Gods and goddesses were a huge part of Greek culture. Greeks offered many tributes and sacrifices to appease these
That's true. His definition of biblical scholar is probably different than the actual definition. Fair.
gods. The lunar goddess Artemis was no different. As a tribute to her, the Greeks would offer up moon-shaped cakes adorned with lit candles to recreate the glowing radiance of the moon and Artemis' perceived beauty. The candles also symbolize the sending of a signal or prayer. Blowing out the candles with a wish is another way of sending that
Actually,
message
the
to the
average Egyptian citizen had birthdays. Oh, nice. Old Undying says, the game Mage the Ascension works off consensus reality. The player characters are those who realize reality can be changed and enforced through their own personal realities. It's a lot of fun. Oh, kind of like how orcs work in 40K.
The gods. It is assumed that the Greeks adopted the Egyptian tradition of celebrating the birth of a god. They, like many other pagan cultures, thought that days of major change, such as these birthdays, welcomed evil spirits. They lit candles in response to these spirits almost as if they
They were only
represented a light in the
considered
darkness. This
to merge
implies that
with the
birthday
sun god
celebrations
after
started
death.
as a
Yeah.
form of protection. In addition to candles, friends and family would gather around the birthday person and protect them from harm with good cheers, thoughts, and wishes. They would
So he literally is talking about people having whatever.
give gifts to even bring more good cheer, and that would ward off evil spirits. Noisemakers were also used to scare away the unwanted evil. It may or may not be a surprise to you, but birthdays are the most holy of days in the Satanic religion. Back in 1969, Anton LaVey wrote the Satanic Bible. On page
That's
96,
because Satanism, the one that you're talking about, isn't a literal... It's not a religion with a deity. They don't worship Satan. They believe in using Satan as a symbolic representation of enlightenment, self-fulfillment, stuff like that. So the birthday is important because it's about celebrating yourself humanistically. Maybe even a little hedonistically, to be honest.
it mentions
Miss Quilanius with 31 months says, 31 months! 31 symbolizes Halloween. We are 268 days away from the next Halloween. 268 is the number of mental hurdles your average conspiracy theorist to convince themselves their bed is secretly the deep state, so they'll flee it and start their day. Wow. That's good. Lilac Rosenberg says, last bits, I'll listen to this tomorrow while biking. Here is an orb video Gina would know is fake. Let's see.
This is a Ring doorbell. Picked up this. This is weird. This is crazy. Can't believe it unless you hear it yourself. Check it out.
It's singing the Sesame Street theme song. Yeah, this doesn't know how cameras work. This is just a fake video. This is my least favorite kind of conspiracy video where it's someone just literally, like, manufacturing something. And I like watching people debunk stuff like this. For instance, Captain Disillusion does good videos where he debunks that kind of thing. Personally, it's not what I find interesting about conspiracies usually. I like the mentality of it. If someone's just blatantly lying, that's annoying.
That's
How to get to Sesame Street. Where were we?
mentions birthdays. Quote, the highest of all holidays in the Satanic religion is the date on one's own birthday. This is in direct contradiction to the holy of holy days of other religions, which defy a particular god who has been created in an anthropomorphic form of their own image, thereby showing that the ego is not really buried. The Satanist feels, why not really be honest? And if you are going to create a god in your image, why not create that god as yourself? Every man is a god if he chooses to recognize himself as one. So, the Satanist celebrates his own birthday as the most important holiday of the year. After all, aren't you happier about the fact that you were born than you are about the birth of someone you have never even met? Or for that matter, aside from religious holidays, why pay higher tribute to the birthday of a president or to a date in history than we do as to the day we are brought into this greatest of all worlds? Despite the fact that some of us may not have been wanted, or at least were not particularly planned for, we're glad, even
I
if no
pulled up a Hans thing for today.
one else is, that we're
You
here.
haven't celebrated a birthday in decades, yeah. I didn't really have birthdays growing up.
You
Not
should
like
give
birthday parties.
yourself a pat on the back.
I had one birthday party when I was like 3, 4, 5, something like that, where a kid threw a bucket at my head and I still have a permanent scar on my nose. And then I don't know when my next birthday party was until after I was already an adult.
Buy yourself whatever you want. Treat yourself like the king or god that you
Are there other people getting F? I saw someone say F. Anyone? Bueller? Oh, maybe not? Okay, good.
are, and generally celebrate your birthday with as much pomp and ceremony as possible. I think this statement really sums up what birthdays are all about. It denies the one
They're mostly just about having a day that's about you and eating some cake.
true
Can
God,
this be qualified as word salad? This doesn't, but we had it earlier, so you can do it. We're gonna look at the bingo card in a sec.
putting self in its place.
This is why I don't believe. I used to sing this in Happy Birthday to You. It's nonsense. It's demonic.
It's not demonic.
In year 3000 before Christ, it was used only for Egyptian pharaohs.
This has to be like a spread conspiracy, because this guy's saying the same thing the other person did. I've never heard this particular one before, but this idea of it originating in Egyptian pharaohs must be some sort of pop cultural myth that they latched onto, or someone said it once and it just spread. How strange. GamerG says, just wanted to say, you look fabulous today, Hannah. Happy Tinfoil Day. Thank you.
Nobody was allowed to have birthdays. It was for the
That's not true.
goddess Artemis. Artemis was connected to the moon goddess. That's why most birthday cakes are round in shape. So the happy birthday thing that you guys do is demonic. Let me tell you something. You need to
Humans never scare me more than in groups like this where a guy is just like talking at them and they're all like, ooh, 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 in unison.
start. Listen
We are a scary, scary species.
to this. Start rituals. Rituals will carry three lines in any ritual incantation. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. Then it carries a fourth one.
Are they like editing in reactions where they weren't actually? Because I don't, like, even an audience like this, I feel like wouldn't react him to doing that. That feels like an insert shot taken from another place temporally that the editor put into the video to make it look like the audience is constantly in awe of the things he's doing, even when it's like not impressive. Just felt propaganda-y. And of course, this is that. It's a sermon, so it is trying to extol some sort of message emotionally. But it felt intentionally deceptive, is what I'm trying to say.
And to affirm the person. So in the year 3000, the king,
In
or
the
rather
year 3000.
the pharaoh, would use that with a
2525.
round cake and candles. And the person would utter a word or their prayer. And then light was extinguished and the smoke would carry the prayer to Artemis. So you think
People having it's wild to me. It frustrates me, and I wonder if the anxiety that sometimes you see in like evangelical Christians or any sort of like fundamentalist religion, do people in fundamentalist religion who get upset about rituals in other cultures get mad about them because they're anxious about recognizing the mirror effect of seeing them doing a ritual and seeing it in their own beliefs? Like, oh my god, those people believe that thing very firmly. That's ritualistic, and I see what they're doing is kind of like nonsense in the real world, but it has meaning to them. How do I differentiate between what I'm doing and what they're doing? So there's almost a backlash of like, no. We're not doing the same thing. They're doing something demonic. We're categorically different. Like, is it to other? Is it an emotional reaction to other people who are doing effectively the same thing you are, but you don't want to be in the same category because that's devastating to your feeling of uniqueness? That's the vibe I get.
you are repeating it 3 times for God. Then you say your wish. We don't wish nothing in Christianity. We decree and declare.
All right, I'm done with this guy.
Today the topic is birthdays. Is it biblical? Is it lawful? Is it something our ancestor did?
Is it prayer wishing? No, when God does magic, it's not magic for some reason. Razor Girl Luna says, I prayed Artemis for different, very hunting-related only reasons and nothing else.
Is it a part of our heritage? Do we take our checks that we work so hard for every week and in the time of birthdays go spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars to make a 5-year-old happy or your friend happy or your significant other happy?
You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars on a birthday. Jesus Christ, how much are you spending on birthdays?
Just because it's your birthday?
Get a cake if they want cake. Hang out.
We gonna find out all according to the scripture. Alright, so we're gonna start at 2 John chapter 1 verse 2. For truth's sake.
Oh, he's just gonna read the Bible.
It's your birthday, happy birthday. People dying everywhere, people living in despair. On your birthday, happy birthday. No, but in all seriousness, happy birthday.
Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 6. Let no man deceive you with vain words, for because of these things cometh the wrath of God upon the children of disobedience.
He saw that puppet and got real mad. I don't know if that's a reasonable reaction.
Dark secret to why we celebrate our birthdays. I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory or if it's true, but it blew my mind. So according to the stories and what I've heard, is you know how we chant, happy birthday to you.
We don't chant, we sing, but also why are you eating ramen in your clearly expensive luxury vehicle? I do not understand TikTok.
Happy birthday to you. Well, chanting that is actually a ritual against us. Oh, these
Don't slurp.
noodles taste like your mom's booty. And you know how I like your mom's booty. I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out though. You notice how happy birthday is like a chant. You light the candles, turn off a light, you all get in a circle, you start chanting, and then you blow out the candles. Tell me that's not portraying a ritual experience. Now let me tell you what I heard.
It's not. You're defining ritual experience so broadly that it encapsulates like most human experiences day to day. Maybe not most, but many.
The ritual does. But first, what month and
Like
day?
humans doing things for anything you do for purposes that are not material, like literally getting food and eating it strictly as utilitarian as possible. These things are symbolic. These are ritual. Humans do these things all the time. And it's not nefarious, it's just how we operate socially, right? Like, even you go into a meeting, shaking everyone's hand and, having pleasantries. That's ritualistic in the sense that there is a certain social expectation that is set for a certain event or something that means something. You are coming to a collective meaning upon what you are doing through social behavior. It's not something evil. Magic doesn't exist. It's just people dealing with each other and interacting.
Day were you born? Let me
The Pledge of Allegiance. That's a ritual, right?
know down below.
The Super Bowl's this weekend, so that's a really, really good example. That's a ritual. And baseball games, the 7th inning stretch, that is a ritual. They are things that have kind of collectively become more than the sum of their parts in our public consciousness. The parts of them, some of them might have material purpose, but for the most part, on the whole, they have come to be more than what they are.
I want to know what sign you are. Me, I was born August 29th, and I'm a Virgo. Anyway,
Wait. Fucking birthdays are demonic, but you think you can use goddamn astrology? This is a weird set of standards. Where are the standards here? Back in my day, conspiracy theorists, if they didn't like birthdays, they also thought astrology was for demons. What is this? What is this?
anyways,
Goddamn Zoomers.
It is said that when we do that, it's a ritual that's sealing our fate to grow older. And that's why some people believe that people who don't celebrate their birthdays tend to look younger than they actually are. Now look, this is all
There is no correlation that you have demonstrated. You showed 2 pictures of people I don't know.
conspiracy, and it's circling around the internet right now. But it's
That was dog shit. That was absolutely terrible. Wow, how many birthday videos did I pull up for this? Jesus Christ, me. There's one more birthday video, and then we'll do the bingo card. Which version of astrology did he use? The first one that popped up on Google when he was 14. Yeah, I saw Trump doesn't have immunity. I assume the Supreme Court's just gonna refuse to take the case if it gets pushed up, so it'll probably just stand there, which is good.
Javis White with Seeker's House. What the fact? I want to let you know today that if you have ever blown out candles on your birthday cake during your birthday party, then you have practiced what is known as candle magic. If you're a parent who buys or bakes cakes for their kids and put candles on them for your kids to blow out, then your kids are practicing candle magic and you...
They are not. They are taking part in a ritual practice that people do in our culture that is benign at worst, and for the most part just a fun thing you do to make a kid, or an adult, adults do this too, feel special on their birthday. That's good. That's nice. That's nice to show someone you care about them, and by giving them a cake and candles signifying how many years, it shows that you care. You're coming together and sharing a meal, not just a meal, but like a dessert, something sweet together to enjoy something that historically would have been very rare, something that would have been, and to many people now still is something they don't get all the time, you know? It's something special that you do. How do these people not understand basics of being a person? Stone Corbell says, the opinion that you can be tricked into or accidentally do magic is so bizarre to me. I feel like one of the biggest parts of doing magic is intentionality. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I think it comes from some sort of place of anxiety. I don't know how to pinpoint it, but I think some of it, I don't know, I think some of it has to do with being constantly afraid of stepping over a line, especially if you are really deep into like fundamentalist Christianity and you're afraid of hell as a literal place that is going to torture and burn you forever. Some people who are already prone to paranoia or anxiety for one reason or another might latch on to the idea that, oh no, what if I accidentally do something that sends me to hell? And if you have obsessive like tendencies where you're going to think that over and over and over again and can't get it out of your head, you might become obsessive about guarding against a hypothetical accidental sin. So they become paranoid and start seeing it everywhere. Fenekagami says, bold of you, Hannah, to assume these people know how to show genuine care for someone.
You are indeed teaching them magical rituals. You're passing these rituals down through the generations. And just think about it for a sec.
Says that was an unmedicated, anxious, depressed me as a Catholic child. Yeah, I felt that too. I've told the story before where I was in elementary school and I went to this like fundamentalist Baptist school where everything was like super hardcore, and like I did the whole like asking Jesus to save me thing multiple times because I was afraid it didn't stick. Like their image of hell that they teach you as a child is so scary, so visceral, that like you become afraid of it. You become like you are horrified.
You're at your birthday party and the candles are lit in front of you as a kid. You're encouraged to make a wish silently. Most of the time, close your eyes. Don't tell anyone the wish. And then blow the candles out. You know, what part of common sense is this? You know, do we ever really question why would we do something like that?
Do you question, like, you could say that again about most things humans do. Like, we take for granted so many of the things we do day to day, week to week, year to year. A lot of them are based on ritual. That's not to say there aren't practical, real-world reasons we do these things, but we have a tendency as a species to intertwine the ritual and the practical to give significance to things. They're not evil, it's just part of how humans work. You are very hardcore looking at this one, don't know why this one in particular frustrates you or confuses you, but that confusion is leading you to be afraid of something that is not malicious or evil. It's just something you don't understand. Skifizoa, thanks for 100 bits. Razor Girl Luna says, what's your favorite birthday-related media, and why is it the Ramones playing Happy Birthday for Mr. Burns in The Simpsons? Huh. I guess I've never really thought about it. Do I have a favorite birthday anything? Again, I didn't really celebrate birthdays growing up, so I never really think about it. What birthday media? The only thing I can think of is the birthday-themed horror movies I have. I have Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You, but there's also old slasher movies that are birthday-themed. I got nothing outside that.
It doesn't seem logical, yet it's something that we've just always done. I know, we've always done.
Actually, you know what? No. The Fairly Odd Parents movie where it's Timmy's birthday, and Timmy gets that muffin where he gets the wish. He gets the wish muffin. That's birthday, kind of. That's his birthday, right? I'll go with that.
Without having the slightest idea where it comes from. But that's the basis of it. Richard Webster writes in his books Candle Magic for Beginners.
It was 1 year with fairies? Okay, well, I don't know. That's the closest I got.
You may be surprised to learn that
he gets a cupcake with a candle on it. You get it.
You have been practicing candle magic since you were a
too.
toddler. Making a wish when you blew out the candles on your birthday cake is a good example of candle magic. These are esoteric practices.
Close enough.
Even
Timmy wasn't trans either, but the girl episode certainly was special to me.
Even the birthday cake itself,
Peter
when you trace the birthday cake
Vanderleet
back,
68, thanks for gifting us
it traces back to ancient Europe, where they believed in the many gods and goddesses, a lot of deities. And
I mean, that's broad. Okay. Let's take a look at the bingo card. Happy birthday again to Halloween Town. You are so awesome. Thank you for being around all the time. We all appreciate you and protecting chat and myself. So thank you for that and your presence. You're always fun to hang out with. So let's see what we got. Popular media, games, etc. is evil. Birthday songs, media. I'll take it. Do your own research. Conspiracy theorists tells on themselves. Satanic. Psyop. Word salad. Uses AI. Correlation isn't causation. Racist disbelief of historical achievements, I guess, for making all of Egypt seem demonic. I don't think there was... When did I mention cheese? I don't remember. When did we have recording in car? Spurious symbology, for sure. We haven't watched Cece's video yet. And I don't know if we will, so... When did I mention cheese? You gotta give me a specific. You can't just have me trust that. Ramen? He didn't have... What do you mean? Fucking ramen? In what universe does saying ramen Oh, no, you're talking about the car thing. I'm being a dick. You're right about that one. I thought you were talking about the ramen for the cheese. I was like, what the fuck? In what universe does ramen indicate cheese? No, you're right. I'll put the car thing. I don't always talk about cheese. I don't. I say it occasionally. As a meme. There are cheese-flavored ramens? Yeah, but all ramen does not indicate cheese. His did not look like cheese-flavored. And honestly, I feel like a cheese-flavored ramen is antithetical to the origin of ramen. Cheese is not very popular in Asia. Well, probably more now, but historically. Lots of lactose intolerance. Hey, Poetic Fox, how's it going? I did... No, me mentioning a movie is not... No, I said I bought them. I own them. Yep. Hannah mentions Blu-rays. Hannah mentions Blu-rays. Anyway, let's get back into it. Let's watch some of the Taylor Swift stuff. Let's squeeze some SEO juice, shall we? I'm really not doing this cynically. It is actually something that they're kind of obsessive about right now. A ton of people are talking about Taylor Swift in the conspiracy community because they've all lost their goddamn minds. So, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these.
Fuck, they can vacuum and never thought global speed that how best point of view say
Really just from 2020.
the theoretical black holes.
All right.
MSKTB89, thanks for 31 months, says, my husband used to be a cheesemonger and we have a friend who still is one. I'm so grateful to try all the wonderful cheeses. It may be part of the reason I picked him. Ooh. Smart move.
It is.
I'm not messing with Swifties, to be clear. To any Swifties who maybe click on this video, I have nothing against Taylor Swift. I think right-wing conspiracy theorists saying things about Taylor Swift is shitty. I was a teenage girl once. I cried in the car listening to Taylor Swift. Not just as a teenager, I've done that as an adult too, but you get what I'm saying.
February 5th, 2020.
Let me check for you, real quick to make sure you have the bingo thing. Let me see. Yep, sure do. Let me get that for you real quick. Cool.
'24. Infinite Plane Radio, open phones for open minds. Kind of open for closed minds, in a way. But really just for our purposes of understanding and reverse engineering how people have arrived at their boxed-in conclusions, which refers to anything framed by the world stage. And right
Let's see. Where was the thing you said, Peter? Let's see. Peter says, I give the sub in memory of YouTube creator, Flat Earth Debunker, and all-around fun guy, Triggered Limey, who died today after a short stay in hospital due to self-inflicted problems. Please never ignore mental health problems or addiction issues. R.I.P. Limey, if heaven exists, you'll be making fun of all the Flurf idiots. That's really sad. I'm really sorry to hear that when anyone passes away, especially someone who's into similar stuff. Hits ya. I'm really sorry. I actually haven't seen any of their content. I'll have to check it out.
now we're talking about a PSYOP that's incoming, which is the Taylor Swift PSYOP. And I also want to point out, too, that the word PSYOP is now mainstream.
PSYOP on the bingo card.
Last year, it was mind viruses.
Let me change this a little bit. It doesn't really matter because he's effectively just a picture, but still awkward framing on my part. He's a penguin guy, I guess.
They mainstreamed. This year, it's PSYOP. In 2016...
They'll lose their mind if they see this parody? Oh god. Taylor Swift, I Knew You Were Trouble parody, I assume it gets demonic.
Oh! Someone call the police! You're insane, we are through!
Yeah, I'm kind of scared to play even this parody because YouTube stream auto detection is like jacked up. But yeah, they would probably go crazy. Satire's lost on them. Satire's lost on a lot of people these days. forever, I guess, but feels worse.
And they took over fake news. In other words, this
AI art is on the bingo card, and we already got it.
This is just another example of the MSM appropriating a word that used to mean something. And now they've taken it out of the realm of fake versus real, and now it's just another way of saying PR stunt. And we're not talking about...
Not really. When I've seen them talk about this, they're talking about PSYOP in the sense that conspiracy theorists have been talking about it as a PSYOP. They were using it correctly from what I saw.
PR stunts, although that's part of it. The origin of public relations,
Thanks,
Edward
Cleodora.
Bernays, propaganda, and the public mind, that's all at work here. However, we're actually looking at the scripting of history in advance, how the news bending actually works and results in a bent history, like our bent everything, bent horizon, like we've been saying. So in other words, there's a story unfolding having to do with Taylor Swift. The title of tonight's live stream, Taylor Swift PSYOP, and the Satanic Grammys. We can't relinquish the term. It's going to get traction. We'll get some traffic for using it, but we have to maintain our definitions. And so when I say...
That's interesting. Your word pops into the mainstream, but you don't like the way the mainstream are using it, so you want to continue using it in a way that you believe is out of line with the majority of the population. Again, I don't even think what he's saying is true, in that PSYOP has, changed meaning in the mainstream. He just doesn't like that it's being used against him, and therefore he thinks the definition has changed. The definition hasn't changed, you just don't like that it's being used for things you don't think are PSYOPs. Very strange. I heard about the Valiard thing. That was sad. Fenekagami says, I can't wait till the Super Bowl when Taylor Swift heralds the second term. Oh wait, where was that? Until Taylor Swift heralds the second term of President Joseph Hunter Brandon, head of the Biden syndicate. I assume that's our president, since those are all the names that Republicans throw around when they complain about the president.
If something's fake, I don't say it's a false flag, which assumes it's real. I can no longer say PSYOP. Hoax doesn't do enough because they project. The ones conducting the hoax call you a hoaxer if you call out the indicators that they're committing a hoax.
How many Uno reverses can you stack on each other?
So,
is it color dependent? Jamie Lynn 46, thanks for 33 months, says, Hi, love your work. Feeling sick today. Love Tinfoil Tuesday. Sorry you're feeling sick. I hope this stream's keeping you company while you recover.
I generally say simulated news event, or mass casualty simulation presented as real to the news media for the purposes of
What do they do when the 49ers win the Super Bowl instead of Kansas City? I don't know which team is which and which team the Taylor Swift boyfriend is on, nor does it really matter to me. I assume that's the team that he isn't on, though. They will say they knew we were on to them, so they had to let it go to make us all look crazy.
Propaganda.
That's where the goalposts will shift.
I mean, you have to be specific. So what we're seeing right now, though, is a PSYOP. Whatever happens isn't something that was scripted. Like, let's just say they decided to do a Princess Diana routine. Some kind of a ritual thing, elevate someone, create an archetype, and then destroy her in some dramatic way. And there have been comparisons of Taylor Swift to Amelia Earhart, which is
Wait, who?
Also very pertinent here.
In that they're both women? No, in that they're both... You think that they are archetypes of a certain thing that are going to be killed for some sort of public ritual. Okay.
Here, because we're talking about this incoming PSYOP suggesting, and it's very suggestive here, something about Taylor Swift.
Not just suggestive, very suggestive.
That connects her with Princess Diana. Amelia.
They're both blonde?
Earhart. And the number 13. Just at a minimum, those elements are very suggestive of, I don't know, some kind of tragedy.
What do you mean number 13? Where are you getting the number 13 for Amelia Earhart, Taylor Swift, or Diana?
And then you look at how mad the MAGA ban has been made by her. She's Trader Swift now. She turned her back on the 4chan incels who used to venerate her as the perfect Aryan princess.
Oh no! Ah! I am so sorry. I had no idea this was going here. Oh no. Okay, so this guy is just Nazi. That's not fun. That's not fun. I'll say overt anti-Semitism on the bingo card. I feel like if you throw the word Aryan in there unironically, it's got to assume everything else, right? We'll go overt anti-Semitism on the bingo card. Fucking gross. Pterodona says, Godwin's Law, anyone?
More
Hannah puts her head in her hands on the bingo card.
evidence to that. Jack Posobiec posted
Yeah, I know they had a weird thing about
this
her.
today.
Which is funny because she's never been that. Like, just because you saw her in a... Like, people on 4chan or weird Nazi ethno-nationalist types looking at Taylor Swift and thinking she somehow changed her mind is akin to me the weird... in this case, it's objectifying and sexual, but it reminds me a little bit of, like, when right-wingers are like, man, when did Rage Against the Machine go woke? Like, in what universe do you think Taylor Swift would have ever agreed with your bullshit? Like, what are you talking about? I'm sure she's, like, out of touch and wealthy, and she was, you know, I've seen her parents' house from when she was a kid. She didn't grow up poor by any means, so I'm sure she's out of touch. But I don't think she's Nazi out of touch. And there's never been any indication of that. So why would they think that, other than they looked at her, saw a young blonde woman, and projected a bunch of shit onto her? How unhealthy. Andronicus Khan says, Amelia Earhart flew planes. Planes were very swift. Connect those dots, Hannah. You're right. I'm losing my touch. I'm losing my touch. You got the touch. Doom, doom. You've got the power.
And you may not
In my head, it was Mark Wahlberg singing it.
catch the dog whistle if you don't follow the far right trolls. With 14 short words, Taylor...
So is he not that? Is he not agree with 4chan, but he's saying is... Whatever, let's watch and find out.
Taylor Swift just taught a brilliant lesson in leadership. So why would Jack Posobiec post something with Taylor Swift in 14 words? Well, as I said, she's their Aryan princess who has turned her back.
14 words, for those who don't know, is a Nazi dog whistle. The 14 words are basically a saying of white nationalists or neo-Nazis that says something to the effect of, I don't know the exact verbiage, but it's 14 words that when written out say something to the effect of, we must preserve the future for white people and white children, something gross like that. Nasty, nasty neo-Nazi shit. So if you ever see 14 words in a weird place, don't be a conspiracy theorist about it, but if you continually see it, it is a dog whistle that gets used because neo-Nazis are often crypto-fascists. They hide it. They hide their power level, so to speak. So to speak. Right
on them.
1488 is also one, yes. 88 is HH, Hail Hitler. So if you see 1488, that can also...
Well, 14 words is actually a reference to the white supremacist slogan about securing the existence of white people for white children in the future. So 14 words. That was chosen specifically as this is a dog whistle.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm just pointing it out that these dog whistles mean something because they do communicate messaging.
I'm gonna delete that, because I know you were just saying what it is, Profane Priestess, but I gotta purge that chat. I know you were just quoting it. It was in quotes. You did nothing wrong. I just feel gross seeing it in my chat. So I gotta delete that, I'm sorry.
Which is why you have a bunch of MAGAs with shotguns going towards the border to fight the aliens. Alright,
wait, what?
We'll go ahead and continue to talk about
I know what he meant by aliens. Just what is he?
This, again, the Taylor Swift psyop incoming, and more clues. Because, you know, some people say you read too much into things.
Purge yours. Let me see, where was yours?
Okay. For example, the blind skeptic on Twitter says, you're reading too much into this. And I can understand saying you're reading too much into it. But there are just too many anomalies here, and we've been vindicated too many times. So yeah, you can...
Like when? That's something you see conspiracy theorists do all the time now, is to just vaguely claim that they've been vindicated in some way with, like, no further explanation. It's interesting.
And read into this thing endlessly. It's that deep. It's not like we're
1 second. I got a message from someone.
misled, and this is not cognitive bias. You know, we're not cherry picking.
I don't have a slogan. Lizard people have signals to each other in tongue movements.
And even if we were, we wouldn't be right so often. And you'll see, the metascripted view is conveying something. And we don't have long to wait. We're just 6 days away from the first full day of the Year of the Dragon, Super Bowl Sunday. Now check this out really quick, a side note. Truth Social was launched February 21st, 2022.
Truth Social is Donald Trump's social media, Twitter knockoff platform thing.
777 days later will be the great...
You don't need my permission, JB Lynn. I'm streaming on YouTube. If you want to go watch on YouTube, watch on YouTube. I wouldn't be streaming on both if I didn't want people to have the best, like...
solar eclipse of 4/8. Probably not a coincidence. This is just a...
Year of the Dragon.
Another element
is what he said.
To the bigger picture that we've been finding, because we know it's about timing. We know astrological timings are precisely implemented with all of these major league psyops. 9/11 starts at 8:46 a.m. Mercury
9/11 out of nowhere on the bingo card.
It's rising, and we find these precise timings, and if you think about it, it makes perfect sense that they would have events.
How is the Year of the Dragon relevant? I guess I should explain that. Sorry, I forget that not everyone knows all the crazy conspiracy mythology I know, so I'll say that. I'll be like, it's the Year of the Dragon, and in my brain I go, that's enough information for you to understand why it's significant. Year of the Dragon. They see dragons and believe that they are symbols of Satan, demonic, especially if they are, like, Chinese Eastern dragons, which tend to look serpentine in nature. So it is a serpentine dragon, which they interpret to be indicative of the beast of Satan, Lucifer, the serpent from the garden. It's symbolic imagery that to them strikes thoughts of the devil, basically, of evil. So
split apart by a certain number of days. And we've been finding this, like, in fact, Astro World, 666 days later, you had the event at the Burning Man, where everybody got stuck in the mud. We've been finding all these fascinating connections, but this is just...
Nothing bad ever happens at music festivals.
Another one.
Firefest Woodstock 99.
So are we reading too much into it? And I want to make
a bunch of people got trampled at the Who concert.
A prediction right off the bat. PSYOP will be 2024's word of the year. I think 2022 was gaslight. Maybe that was last year. But the word of the year, let me see. Because
this
gaslighting
is the year of
was
gatekeeping and girl bossing.
Isn't something that was commonly understood outside of the, I guess, area of therapy and psychological abuse, but...
Not Woodstock, Woodstock 99.
Yeah, Merriam-Webster.
Woodstock was a gross shit show, but at least it's remembered well. I was talking about Woodstock 99, which is
America's oldest dictionary publisher chose gaslighting as the word of the year, and this is based on...
Which is weird because narratively Eastern dragons are typically more analogous to guardian spirits or angels than they are demons. Yes, but you assume that these people are aware, and when I say these people, I broadly mean the kind of people who are interested in this kind of conspiracy fall into the syncretism trap, where they believe that, sort of, in their head, they have an idea of what a dragon is, and a dragon is Satan. So anytime you see a dragon, it must be indicating Satan. They don't understand that other people can have symbols that mean something different than what they interpret the symbol to mean. They don't understand that the connection between what you view the symbol to mean and the symbol is arbitrary. So therefore they believe that if someone is using a symbol that they believe is evil, then it's evil to that person. They just don't know it. It's not that they have an understanding that different people have different things they bring to imagery or take from it culturally or individually. They genuinely think that objectively a dragon is evil. It contains some sort of like platonic ideal of evil and Satan, and that can never be divorced from the symbol. That's not the case, of course. It's not how anything works, but it's how they perceive the situation, which is why they end up getting so off track. They're unable to understand what other people are doing because they can't see other people's actions and interpret them correctly because they're so stuck in their own frame of reference for symbols and meanings. Anyway. Kagami says another thing interesting about conspiracy theorists is that you can piss them off by asking them for their sources, not even trying to debunk them, just literally asking questions. Surus recently had an encounter where he did this, and the guy started to get mad and refused to share until Surus asked him if the source was Alex Jones, and the guy thought Surus was a Jones fan and finally shared his sources. Yeah. Poor understanding of Eastern religion and culture on the bingo card. Absolutely.
On people searching for it. Gaslighting is the act or practice of grossly misleading someone for one's own advantage. Basically, the mainstream media's standard operating procedure. They're basically gaslighting you 24/7, saying, believe this, not your senses. Trust us. Your perceptions are secondary to what you get through the screen. So gaslighting was 2022, but yeah, this year I think it's going to be PSYOP. Okay, so continue. We have a ton of new information along these lines. So let's just start with, and should we take bets? Are we going to take bets? And maybe we should actually have a betting pool for Super Bowl Sunday, not on who's going to win the Super Bowl, but on what's going to happen with this event. Snipers, nukes, blackouts in Vegas, all these things have been...
I'm sorry, does he think that a nuclear weapon is going to be detonated during the Superb Owl? Why? That sounds like the premise to a bad Roland Emmerich film.
Forecast. In fact, we'll go through all of them. And something else, too, that came up very interesting. Someone in the chat had pointed out the potential symbolism between the 49ers and the Chiefs. And if you remember last year, we had this drama about this kid wearing a Kansas City Chiefs outfit and doing the tomahawk chop. And they said it was racist.
It is.
Well, that had a direct tie-in to Leave the World Behind, where you even have a scene on the wall where someone's doing the chop. Not a coincidence. This is an Obama-era psyop that came back.
What? Wasn't that under Trump anyway, where the kid got... where that happened? I don't know. I genuinely don't. Maybe I'm remembering a different incident.
Right after the...
No one should bully a kid for that, though. No one, it's fine to tell the kid, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this for XYZ reason that a kid will understand, but it's a kid. It's not their fault adults made racist shit that they don't get.
Movie was released. But listen to this. The enslaved Native Americans who made the gold rush possible. The native Californians were treated abominably in...
Oh, so he's gonna say the 49ers are named after the gold rush of 49, and the Chiefs are named after... Therefore, these are connected. No! All you're seeing is the connection that indigenous peoples have historically been treated like shit in the Americas. It's not a conspiracy. You're just noticing the underlying milieu of racism against, indigenous peoples. Oh, wow, this certainly comes up a lot. Yeah! Read a goddamn book!
The area where gold was first discovered. In other words, 49ers, Chiefs.
No, not accidentally based, because he didn't say anything based. I am drawing conclusions that he is missing. He isn't getting it.
Kid with the Chief headdress. The chop is racist, it says here. Young Chiefs fan, his dad respond. So there's something up with that. And this is all very consistent anyway with the bigger narrative, as we'll see. The division, left, right, black, and white. The toxic femininity versus toxic masculinity.
Oh boy. Hydrate. Can do.
And then we have the connection between Super Bowl 47, the Blackout Bowl, and the one that's coming up right now. Now, this is something that came from the Department of Defense. The Pentagon actually stepped out in front of this thing. The Department of Defense says Taylor Swift is not an asset to the...
Yeah, the reason that they said that, and this is so funny, because this is always how conspiracy theorists react, no matter what they win. InfoWars, along with other conspiratorial, like, outlets, I don't know what you want to call them, online conspiracy outlets, basically ran with this story that Taylor Swift is a Pentagon asset. So the Pentagon, seeing this misinformation getting put out, is like, no, she's not. And then they go, aha! Why would you have to say she wasn't unless she was? Because you guys were creating fake news, that's why. But of course, if they said nothing, they'd be like, ah, see, they're not saying anything. We are always right. No matter what, they're right. No matter what, they determine that whatever happens shows that they've been right all along. Fenekagami says, another symptom of this inability to separate the meaning of symbols is the fact that people like this don't believe in good and bad actions, they believe in good and bad teams. If Satan does something, it's evil no matter what. If God does something, it must be good. If the devil did the feeding of the 500, it would be evil, even if he did exactly what Jesus did. Moronix with 50 bits says, can't watch the whole stream live right now, but hope you're doing better. Sounds cheesy to say you're one of my favorite streamers, but it's true. Have a lovely night. You too. Thank you. Yes, they are making their beliefs unfalsifiable.
The Pentagon. Thank you, DOD. They confirmed Taylor Swift is not a Pentagon asset, and Travis Kelce probably isn't either.
Accidentally start his music?
Right-wing conspiracy theorists. Now, you'll notice only right-wingers are conspiracy theorists.
No. There are crunchy left-wing conspiracy theorists, for sure.
That's like the default. And that's because...
in the cultural, like... In the United States, I can speak to the fact that as a prevailing political force that actually has consequences, it is mostly coming from the right. It certainly exists on the left as well, though.
Because if you're not mainstream, you're a conspiracy theorist. You see how that works?
No, you're a conspiracy theorist if you have a bunch of unfounded theories about conspiracies that rule the world.
And we're not conspiracy theorists, by the way, if you're listening, Infinite Plane Radio. We're just simply people who have been mentally inoculated against the mind war, which...
Whoa, I thought you guys didn't like inoculations. What's going on?
Which makes us skeptics. And somewhat objectivists, in a sense.
They're not.
Okay.
That's also not generally what that word means.
Let's continue. Again, spokesperson for the DOD had to go out and say that this is not a psychological operation being carried out by the Pentagon. He said they anticipate Swift will be on the field during the Super Bowl halftime show to endorse Biden. This is what Ramaswamy said.
Who in the world thinks... Oh, this was something Ramaswamy said? You think that Taylor Swift's gonna go in the middle of the goddamn halftime show and be like... Hey everyone, so I know I said I never wanted to do a Super Bowl halftime show, but I just wanted to say, vote for Joe Biden, bye! Like, how would that play? The NFL would never do that. The NFL has enough trouble getting people to watch the fucking, like, game these days, much less having someone make such a hardcore political statement at the halftime show, the most viewed moments of football of the year. That is so stupid and paranoid. DM Trey says, public service announcement, if you think you've never have conspiratorial thoughts, you're wrong. Yep. If you want to see how conspiratorial thinking, pervades everyday life, not just for people on the fringes, but everyone, including you and I would recommend the book Suspicious Minds by Rob Brotherton. It's really great at tackling how, again, we think of conspiracy theories and conspiratorial thinking often in terms of grand conspiracies. The moon landing being faked, JFK being, assassinated by multiple people instead of the actual story. When in reality, conspiratorial thinking does not simply pervade big theories, it exists at every level. Not just the big, but the microscopic, the moment-to-moment interactions you have, so... Angel with a $10 super chat says, would you call it a left-wing conspiracy to believe Dems don't actually want to win or govern? I feel like establishment Dems simply do not want power and prefer to be controlled opposition. Yes, I think that's a conspiracy. And to be clear, I'm not saying there aren't any individuals within that system that feel that way to one extent or another, but casting it that broadly as they, as a whole group, have decided this thing, they are doing this, that's conspiratorial. It seems like not a big difference, but it is. Like, people do not usually get in a big room together and decide, we're doing this thing. That's a conspiracy. Usually people are responding to incentive sets individually, and when you look at individuals within a group responding similarly to the same sets of incentives, it can look conspiratorial. Like, when leftists, for instance, like us, talk about capitalism, it's not a conspiracy, although I hear people use it and talk about it like that. It's a lot of people following incentive sets, and certain people maintaining those incentive sets because that's part of their own incentive set. So anyway, that's a lot of words. Moving on.
He said, I wonder who's going to win the Super Bowl next month.
Oh, Steve with a Q says, reports of me having conspiratorial thoughts are just misinformation planted by them to discredit me. And Overthought says, plus the NFL is super right-wing. Army, everything, flyovers, anthems, etc. No way they let someone endorse Biden during their flagship event. Yeah, they cracked down on people, like, kneeling during the national anthem for, you know, caring whether or not, you know, black people who are unarmed get shot by the police. You think they're gonna let someone endorse a political candidate, much less Biden, during the Super Bowl? They'll cut the feed. They'll cut the feed. They'll use the button that they installed right after the nip slip incident that cuts the entire broadcast. If Taylor Swift even uttered a syllable that sounded like she was going to say something about Joe Biden, the entire Super Bowl would cut out, I promise you.
They're saying it's rigged. So there's this theme, rigged
They're saying? Who's saying?
election, rigged Super Bowl. And this is interesting too, because I've been saying that the Super Bowl 47 blackout bowl would be correlating to the election of the 47th president. So former candidate Ramaswamy then piled on, posting to X, I wonder who's going to win the Super Bowl next month, and I wonder if there's a major presidential endorsement coming from an artificially, culturally propped up couple this fall.
I don't even understand. Like, if you are a Taylor Swift fan, you already know what her political belief is. She talked about it a bit in 2020. She campaigned a bit for Biden, like, I think she posted at least some stuff that was like, hey, vote for Biden or whatever. It's not a secret. And if you're a football person, and you're, like, really into football and don't give a shit about Taylor Swift, you're not going to switch your vote just because she comes on during the halftime show and says stuff. So this doesn't even make sense as a plan. Like, who is she reaching that she doesn't already have access to? You know what I mean? Just seems odd. Hydrate.
Well, there you go.
It reminds me when I saw something where someone claimed that, like, Taylor Swift was, gold digging for her boyfriend who was in the Super Bowl. And then you look at their net worths, and her net worth is, like, over $1 billion, and his is high, too. You know, he's rich, he's in the NFL, and, like, he's going to the Super Bowl, so he's on a good team, clearly. But, like, he's not billionaire rich. It's so funny. It's so funny. Like, Taylor Swift does not need the Super Bowl to get messaging out if she wanted to. She has all of the money, all of the fame, and she has a bunch of people on the internet who will do pretty much whatever she asks. So, you don't have to worry about the Super Bowl. You have to worry about having unpopular positions that people don't like.
Oh. And I've been listening to left-wing podcasts talking about all these Taylor Swift conspiracy theories like it's just crazy. And is it crazy?
Yes.
I don't think so. She just had her 13th Grammy. When she goes to the Super Bowl, it'll be her 13th game-side appearance after her 13-hour flight from Japan.
I'm feeling like that flight's probably not exactly 13 hours. That feels like the kind of thing where he's rounding it. Is that rounding error numerology?
Yeah, you had the DOD, Deputy Press Secretary, coming out on Friday, just saying, no, this is not a Pentagon psyop. Taylor Swift is not an asset. She's not part of a DOD psychological operation, period. So again, the term psyop, psychological operation, is now mainstream.
Why are conspiracists obsessed with numbers being the same? They're looking for patterns. Obsession or increased pattern recognition to a fault is a huge part of conspiracy thinking, is seeing patterns where they don't exist, and seeing the same number is a really, really easy pattern for people to see. Even when it's not an intentional pattern, people just see that. Not to mention, they put, like, mythological significance on certain numbers, like 33, because they think it has significance in Freemasonry, for being, like, the highest rank of Freemasonry you can reach. 13, for a lot of historical, cultural reasons. In different cultures, 13 has had meaning as lucky numbers, unlucky numbers, magic numbers, evil numbers, good numbers. 7, similarly, has been used. 3... People make symbols and mythologies around symbols all the time. It's a huge thing we do. And conspiracy theorists use these same faculties and sort of like mental tools to sculpt nonsense.
This is the second time the Pentagon has shut down rumors. Now, why would they even address this?
Because wackos on the internet are doing this.
This is a good question, if you ask me, because they're trying to set something up. They're trying to set something up for this race traitor, which is what they call them in Turner Diaries.
Oh, he's citing the Turner Diaries. For those who don't know, the Turner Diaries, Thought Slime, Mildred did a great video on the Turner Diaries, but it's incredibly depressing. The Turner Diaries is a neo-Nazi book that is a fan fiction about Nazis, neo-Nazis taking over America and final solutioning everyone that Nazis don't like. So.
And right now it's Turning Point USA is basically bringing the Turner Diaries to life.
Okay, I think I'm done with that video. I'm stressed enough. I don't need to listen to neo-Nazis. Let's take a look at the bingo card, shall we? Ancient Wisdom. Overt anti-Semitism. Incorrectly believes evidence is self-evident. Hannah mentions Blu-rays. I don't know if 4chan's on here anymore. Mark of the Beast. Illuminati, Freemason, Cabal. That's not how women work. 9/11 out of nowhere, of course. Wherever that is. I'll get to it when I find it. Doesn't know what a coincidence is. The Deep State. Biden's, Clinton's, Obama's, wherever that is, you know. Word salad. 9/11 out of nowhere. MK Ultra was mentioned. Poor understanding of Eastern philosophy and or religion. Anonymous 4chan, any other chan, it is on there apparently. Clinton's, Obama's, Biden's. He mentioned false flags. Sure, why not? Harold Elberman says, football provides a fun nexus of those two things, though, Hannah. The NFL doesn't have preferred teams in terms of market forces, so some conspiracies sound more like us talking about economics than ye old red string special. Yeah, I don't know, football things. I'm kind of surprised no one has bingo yet. It's a decent amount. I think that's it, unless I missed something. Hannah regrets something she just said. No. It was Hannah. Maybe I had that one removed, actually. Hannah puts head in hands. Okay. Let's continue, shall we? This is heavy. You need a quick, refreshing moment, Hannah. I love the theories. What a sexual master that Rasputin was. Oh god, what? I can't play this. I'm streaming on YouTube. Thank you, though. I actually haven't even seen that episode. I haven't seen Doctor Who Flux. Or the special that was after it. Fenekagami says, after 2024, we have to get Democrats off some of their civility politics and move them further left, so hopefully we can start addressing the fascism problem in America. The BS of treating the right with kid gloves while the left gets the hammer has to stop. I feel like some realization is starting to set in how bad the fascism is, but it's not happening fast enough. Some of that in leadership, I think, has to do with both age and insulation from the world to not take it seriously, but I don't know.
So Taylor Swift is finally showing you guys who she truly is, and you're still not paying attention, huh? She literally called herself a witch in this tweet.
Yeah,
Billboard.
A lot of women use witch as an empowering term because historically it has been used against women. It's symbolic of things like witch trials, which were usually where women were, for no crime, killed. So using that, taking that imagery and twisting it into a positive is an empowering thing.
Chart says this is a song for all.
I hear about Tim Pool being mad at Has Been Hotel. I don't even know what Has Been Hotel is.
The lonely witches. Y'all think they're just putting on an artistic act? This woman was
Yes, you fool.
Was on tour going state to state doing live rituals on stage. And nobody's paying attention to it, huh?
I think they are. A lot of people went to those concerts. I think they're paying attention. They just understand that symbolic things during a show aren't real life. Schadenfriede Kahlo, thanks for gifting 5 tier 1 subs. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're that brainwashed.
Pitchforks and proof. No, we just don't think that shows are real. Like, I went to go see Evil Dead the Musical. I didn't run out thinking people were being murdered on stage. You know what I mean? Like, it's a show.
There are free seats and reasons. They're burning all the witches, even if you aren't one.
Y'all waking up yet?
I'm just skipping for copyright reasons. Is believes in magic witchcraft a space on the bingo card? No, I don't believe so. I think we decided it's under... I think we talked about it, but I think we decided against it, because it was like, it would always come up. It's every video.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a serpent behind her.
Oh my god, a serpent? That's illegal.
Y'all waking up yet? Last week's sweetheart has turned to this week's witch.
Wow, you took the time to put that noise in there, too. Consider me spooked.
In that video, she was acting like she was in hell.
Cleodora with a $10 super chat says, why do they want to wake up if they hate woke people so much?
So yeah,
They're the real awake ones.
Week's sweetheart has turned to this week's witch in hell. But are you catching on yet? So a witch in front of a serpent. Let's go deeper, ladies and gentlemen. Isn't it interesting that Taylor Swift looks exactly like Zena LaVey?
She doesn't look exactly like her. They're just both blonde.
Who is Zena LaVey, you might ask?
Anton LaVey's daughter.
She's Anton LaVey's daughter. Anton LaVey was the founder of the Satanic Church, and his daughter, Zena LaVey, was a high priestess for Satan. Safe to say she was a witch. Oh,
Is it? I don't think witches are real, so I think you would need to maybe show that that's
how the resemblance is remarkable. So America's Sweetheart blew up being America's Sweetheart, but now she's trying to make it cool to be a witch. Why is that? Well, I said it before, you do.
Wait, does he think kids don't already think witches and wizards and shit are cool? Did he miss the entire Harry Potter era?
Not get this big without certain contracts being signed. They got her right where they wanted her just so they can turn her around so she can manipulate the youth. The kids love Taylor Swift, but instead,
I mean, not just kids. She's been popular since I was a kid. Taylor Swift's been popular since I was, like, just going into high school. So, like, at this point, I'd imagine it's kids and their parents. Like, millennial moms and dads, I'm sure. Some, like Taylor Swift.
instead of being a great role model that she built her fan base off of, now she wants to be a witch. Y'all
Why do you think that that's a bad role model?
see the switch? And this isn't something
Her career started in 2005. I didn't notice until high school.
new. Billie Eilish with children. Building a fan base with children. Then all of a sudden she made a song called All the Good Girls Go to Hell. Now
Okay.
This is your Billie. Now this is your Billie. And all the brainwash would call it artistic.
It is! Art isn't just things you like. Art is allowed to be things that you don't like or make you uncomfortable. That's part of art.
Lil Nas X built a fan base off of children.
Did he? When?
They blew this man up out of nowhere. Then what happened? Out of nowhere, he switched. Next thing we know, he's sliding from heaven into hell. Even gave him
Actually, his most recent thing is in heaven, so I'm assuming this is not up to date.
his own satanic shoe. They had 666 on him. Also, Luke 10:18, the verse in the Bible where Satan fell like lightning. So do you guys see the comparison? Do you guys see the pattern? Do you guys see who they're after? They're after the youth. Because if they can control the youth, they can control the future.
It's a Goebbels quote.
I might have thought she was America's sweetheart, but my Bible says even Satan himself masquerades like an angel of light. Stop listening to these artists and stop letting your children listen to these artists. Little do you know, you are allowing demonic spirits to come into your household. Because when you play that nonsense, you are coming into agreement with that nonsense. Your eyes and your ears are portals. What you let into them is what you're coming into agreement with. 2024, let's be smarter. Let's be more wise. If it's not glorifying God, cut it off. God bless you.
That was painful. Alright, I think we've done enough Taylor Swift stuff for now. Let's move on. Okay, I'll check it out, Profane Priestess. Thank you. Logart says, I wonder if this man redacted glorifies God.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Redacted? I don't know what the redacted.
Hi. I haven't done one of these kind of recordings in a while, but I was putting together some older videos that I made over the summer, just this last summer, of these wooden sculptures that are around my town, but they're actually all over the United States and even up into Canada and over in Hawaii.
Oh, I got it. Sorry, it took me a sec.
Called the Trail of the Whispering Giants. It's a collection of sculptures by artist Peter Wolf Toth. Yeah, they're huge. They're 20 to 40 feet. But yeah, long story short, they're wooden sculptures of Native American Indians, which I believe that the native people of America were giants and
Giants on the bingo card. Okay.
Native American.
I do not have it on half speed. I'll speed it up. Let's see. We'll go 1.5.
American Indians are descendants of giants, and all these sculptures are put up to pay tribute to that. And the purple people eaters, the royals, they know this. Actually, this one right here is one of the ones in the video that it's right down the road for me. It's actually been torn down. It was up for like 20 years or something. It's also on the grounds of a school here in my hometown called the Judith Resnick Learning Center. So yeah, now that gets into a little bit more of deception. So yeah, it's called the Trail of the Whispering Giants. It's these wooden sculptures, and I put together a few older videos that I made over the summer, and I'm going to play after this. And if all these Native American Indians were giants, it puts a little bit of a twist on...
Is he aware that there are indigenous peoples still alive today? Like, he's talking as though everyone from every, like, tribe died. Like they're a mythical... Like they're mythical and in the past.
What the Wild Wild West was this whole time period. Yeah, and they even made movies about it, but... So I like to think about this time period. I don't think it existed. Yeah, okay, so cool. It was nice talking to you guys on camera. I haven't done that in a while. And this is just a little short presentation on the giant Native American Indians. Alright, cool.
So this is a monument that was here, and I got some pictures of it a while ago. This is this, and it's been taken down. This has been up here as far back as I can remember. There's a lot of monuments to giants. They have a little thing here, the Trail of the Whispering Giants, and they're all over the country. And that's because giants once existed, and they know that, and put their statues up on things they own. But they've taken this one down. I was driving by and I noticed, and I was like, oh boy.
Did we get rounding error numerology? Let me take a look. We did not quite.
So the other thing about the statue that used to be here is this one happens to be set, I wonder if I can zoom in on. Yeah, it's hard to hold it steady when you're that zoomed in.
About the 13-hour flight thing from Taylor Swift. How long is where's the Super Bowl taking place this year? How long is a flight between, she was going from Japan, right? How long is a flight between Japan and wherever the Super Bowl is? Vegas? Japan to Vegas, what is the flight? And if it is 13 hours, how close to 13 hours? Japan to Seattle does not help me. Japan to Seattle is not Japan to Vegas. God damn it. 13 is legit? Alright. Not rounding error numerology then.
But this is the Judith Resnick Learning Center. And those of us who know about
13 hours and 17 minutes. That actually does round down to 13.
Judith Resnick.
So I'm gonna say that.
Yeah. Hang on. She's still alive. Alive and well. Because this was a hoax.
Oh wow.
All these guys are still alive.
Discovery thing now.
Challenger. Yeah, they faked all that. None of them are dead. They're still alive. And so this makes sense that they put their fakery, their statues, their mockery right up in our face on ground.
12 hours and 15 minutes, depending on where it is in Japan. Fuck it. You win bingo. Give me your card so I can look at it. I'll give it to you.
that they name after somebody who faked their death.
Let me do something real quick. Rounding error numerology. Boom.
See us. They don't like us. They love mocking us. Yeah. There it is one more time. It was a big Indian. Big Indians roamed Akron.
Oh, wow.
Giants.
He literally...
There's actually a couple more of these around town that I'll eventually probably get to. Yep, giants existed. They tell us.
Take a look at the... Did you send me your bingo card? Send me your bingo card so I can check if you win.
And Judith Resnick is alive.
Needs help. The bar at the top. Like your web address bar, copy paste that from your bingo page so I can look at it into the chat.
So here is another giant Indian sculpture. I wanted to get this before they take it down. But yeah, giants were here. The area that I live in is known for its Native American heritage. And some of them were giants. This guy's name is Chief Logan. And they erect these sculptures because they know that, you know, they were giants. And they put up monuments to them.
Sorry, and I'm just looking at whoever had the bingo. Who got the bingo? Demibird. Demibird.
They kind of mock us with this.
That would be dead celebrity, sure, why not?
Put it right in our face.
Either way, send me your thing, Demibird.
Oh yeah, just a real short one.
I have seen some of these people claim that Mount Rushmore is a giant thing, so I've heard that. Quiet compared to the video? Okay, well, I'm done with it, but...
Hey everybody, welcome back for another video. Today we're going to be talking about the King of America. Now I've come across some interesting information that's actually forced me to
Historians are gonna not like this video. Fans of Assassin's Creed are gonna love this video.
evaluate the way I look at some of the old world research. So I'm eager to share some of that with you guys. So let's get started. Now, talking about George Washington, there are some really interesting frescoes that depict him in a deified state. The Apotheosis of Washington, created in 1865, can be viewed in the Capitol building, the Rotunda. And when you kind of zoom in on him, he appears to be doing the hand gestures, as above, so below. And there's also that statue, which we're told was inspired by the classic statuary of ancient Greece. And it's...
Doesn't understand architecture on the bingo card. It's a neoclassical thing.
Supposedly derives from a famous lost statue, the Olympian Zeus. And again, he's doing a similar type of hand signs.
This is a time period, this is like the Columbia time period where the United States is very much finding its identity as a unified country, sort of like post-Civil War era, when after the cleanup from the Civil War, reunification, really reconstruction was fucked. But still, we were no longer at war with ourselves for decades, and we started to have economic development and stuff more. During this time period, the reverence towards the founding fathers, who had now been dead for some time, became weird. It became mythological. It became to the point where they are depicting them, like here symbolically, in the same poses and tableaus as Greek gods. It's a way of trying to impart greatness, to impart the idea that they are a continuation of Enlightenment ideals that find their origins not only in the Renaissance, but like classical thinkers of Greece, you know? stuff like that. So it's creating a visual lineage between the founding fathers, the United States, the Renaissance, and the classical era of thinkers. So
gestures. So very much a deified figure. And
I still didn't get to see the bingo card from the person who had bingo. I never got it sent to me.
And I guess at one point, the statue was actually on the Capitol grounds before
Yeah, Demibird, send me your thing.
eventually being moved to the National Museum of American History. Fair enough. Okay, so why am I talking about George Washington? Well, during my studies and looking at artifacts on different sites, I came across the Fort Union Trading Post National Historic Site. I believe it's either North Dakota or Montana, but I was looking at some of the artifacts that were found during excavations at this site, and there were these, what are referred to as presidential pipes, these smoking pipes, clay smoking pipes. But these ones in particular depicted famous political figures. And turns out that they are found frequently at American fur trading era posts. And similar pipes occur on many mid
Yes, Demibird.
19th century Western sites. So I thought that was interesting. So I wanted to keep digging. And another interesting thing about these presidential pipes is that there's several different types. Like there's a handful of different figures represented, but only...
Let's take a look real quick. That's not how women work. Giants, free space, overt anti-Semitism, rounding error numerology. You win! Demibird wins. I will write your name down. Give me one sec. Your name is now written down. So that is our official winner for bingo for this week. We will still play for fun, but Demibird gets the free gift sub for usage whenever I am told. Where were we? It's around here somewhere.
One is depicted with a crown, and that's the Washington pipe. It's the only presidential style with a crown. And why that's kind of interesting is because there's this lore surrounding George Washington that he could have been a king, but he refused to wear a crown. Yet there are all these presidential pipes depicting him with a crown, and just...
Right, because even though he wasn't a king, I could see in the past people still using it as a symbol of power, as a symbol of he is the top. Because the presidency was so new, what are they going to use as symbol for that? These days, there are symbols you could maybe think of that would be presidential, the presidential seal, stuff like that. But back then, how are you going to indicate who this is better than, I don't know, he's the head of state. Here he is, he's got a crown, it indicates royalty, not literal royalty in this case, but more so in the sense of people revering him, respecting him, and having political power.
Knowing how much he was deified, actually, it's an interesting combination. So definitely.
It could also literally be functional. Maybe they just needed a smooth part at the top, so they gave him a little hat.
I started to really...
Not what I'm doubting, but yeah.
He wanted to dig into this, and then I came across information that mentioned how these pipes, they're actually manufactured in Germany, and again, they can be found at many of these American fur trading era posts. So as I was looking, I came across more of these Washington pipes. One was at this Hudson Bay's company on this San Juan Island in Washington State, and I came across another website in Jacksonville, Oregon, and she came across some more of these presidential pipes, and she was just mentioning how most of them were manufactured in Germany for export to the US, but she was amazed to learn that in the 1850s these pipes traveled thousands of miles from Germany to the outskirts of the western frontier, because it's interesting when considering the limited means of transportation into southern Oregon in the early 1850s, which typically consisted of using pack mules to bring supplies over the surrounding mountain ranges. So
people bring things. People want goods still. What?
We're given dates of typically mid 1850s for these pipes. Yet these areas that they're found in are just starting up and
people brought them or ordered them. It was difficult, but that just meant it was a novelty. It was probably something that was a little expensive for them to order, or they brought it from another place in the States before they moved out there.
Getting there is difficult, and at a lot of these sites, these pipes are buried. It's an interesting set of circumstances. So I kept looking, and then sure enough found
Moogie,
more
thanks for
examples
following.
at Fort Vancouver, and I've talked about Fort Vancouver in a few different videos, but I think Fort Vancouver was actually destroyed during this unknown event that's not in our history. I think this event brought an end to this early colonial period, early industrial period, and I think
I'm on a Nickelodeon kick right now. What's my favorite Nickelodeon show of all time? Oh, I like Invader Zim. I like Invader Zim a lot.
almost up to 3 million
The first like 3 seasons of SpongeBob are really good.
artifacts, but just things are significantly buried. And even around Fort Vancouver, there's all these Native American villages that were abandoned in the 1830s, but they find these out of place
Are there people trying to
artifacts
troll me like I'm a Taylor Swift fan?
and a lot of stuff again buried. And there was an archaeologist at one of these sites, Cathlapodal, along the Columbia River, and he was surprised to see some of these artifacts, including Chinese porcelain, all of which were at the village about a century before Vancouver arrived in 1792. So there's these artifacts from the 1600s, late 1600s, but Europeans supposedly didn't show up until...
Oh my god, you're right. I was thinking about Avatar. Avatar The Last Airbender. I'll go with Last Airbender. I love Last Airbender.
the late 1700s. So interesting.
That and Invader Zim are neck and neck, though. It really depends if I care more about a really good story that comes to a satisfying conclusion, or if I just want to enjoy Invader Zim. They're pretty good. Run Trip Fall, thanks for 17 months. Says Hannah's top Swiftie confirmed.
Now, so I think there was a lot of trade happening along the West Coast, including the Russians, the Chinese, but then this event called...
Okay, I'm done with this guy. Sorry, the Tartaria stuff has a tendency to get boring very quickly for me. Like, it's funny at first, but then it's like, what's Chris been up to?
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be.
Rocco's is good. Agreed. They did a movie that was a follow-up some years ago on Netflix that was alright, too.
CC here, Chris from New York, Westchester County. It's 1/26/24, almost the end of another month. Today's a Friday, and I like to give you something to think about on a Friday, just in case if I'm unable to put a video out.
The person I banned who was trying to come at me for Taylor Swift came back again, and I just banned them again. Are there people who are this intense about hating Taylor Swift? Like, I know I'm doing this stream, but Jesus Christ. The anti-Swifties.
Of course, once again, it'll be cloudy. I think we might get lucky, though, on Saturday. Maybe I can bring the old camera out and check out some stars for you. You know those fake lights up there? Yeah. Yeah, the ones that are in the books that are round and shiny and have these amazing things on them. Well, they don't look like that when you look at it through a camera, okay? They're not stars.
Doesn't understand how cameras work on the bingo card and fake sun/sky on the bingo card. If anyone's here that's new, this is Chris. We watch him pretty regularly. He's a flat earther. He believes in chemtrails, Tartaria. His wife hates him. It's a whole thing. He's very, very angry.
These things are probably, I don't know. All right, well, all right, hey, just think about it Friday. So
Does his hair look different today? It looks volumized. I don't know if he switched conditioners, but it's working.
I want you to think about it. I've been hearing this on the internet, and I think you should, or everyone should think about it. You know, what happens if this is how the stars are? This is how we see the stars, okay? Have you ever been to the Hayden Planetarium in New York City? No, I bet you haven't. But have you ever been to a planetarium, period?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, now what I want you to do is I want you to picture our flat ground, our flat land, what we live on here, okay? There's a middle, there's edges around this flat land, and there are continents in there. And then that would be the continents that we know of different countries.
The planetarium I went to didn't have a map of the Earth, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Now,
you're excited to see the next Avatar movie, God Emperor of Pandora, Avatar Messiah, and Children of Pandora were really good and original stories not based on any science fiction books from the 60s.
the middle. Well, hold on. Well, okay, yeah. In the middle of a planetarium, there is a projection. Have you seen it before? It's kind of neat. I don't know if you've ever seen one like close up. If you go to a planetarium and you actually get that front row seat right there, well, it's gigantic. It's this big black thing with all these little reflective lenses on it. It's really cool. You should check it out one day if you ever make it out there. I don't know if those planetariums are around anymore. We still have a couple here. I showed you one that's right off the Hudson River right there. And I have a plan for that too, but hold on. I don't want to get ahead of myself here. Anyway, so in that planetarium, you have this tower that's a projection that projects all these lights up in the sky, or up on the dome.
Sorry, I'm getting trolled by weird Taylor Swift anti-fans. Oh, it's fine.
Anything you want. You can have planets up.
Oh, wow. They made another account. Taylor Swift is a hoe. Did you have, like, a thing for Taylor Swift? And now you're mad for some reason? This is very strange. This is very strange. Like, I'm sorry. I should be focusing on the conspiracy, but now I'm kind of obsessed with the obsessed anti-Taylor Swift person in chat. Like, what is this? Like, I have said the most neutral things about Taylor Swift. I liked her in high school. She's got some good songs, but I don't have a personal anything about Taylor Swift. I'm very confused why someone is so angry about Taylor Swift that they have no idea who I am, but they have come into this stream assuming I have very strong beliefs about Taylor Swift, one way or the other, which I do not. And they're mad at me and calling me a cunt for being in any way in his head associated with Taylor Swift. How interesting. How interesting.
Up there, you can have comets, but they can't come up with one thing, and that's the sun. They can't do that, okay, because it requires too much light. So, but they'll do all the stars. They'll do all the planets, and it'll make you feel like you're at home, because you are. That's exactly what you're in. Now, I want you to take a look at our flat land, okay? Now, in the middle of our flat land, we have something called Little Fairy Tale. This is where Santa Claus lives, the North Pole. That's right. You know Santa Claus? He comes out and gives gifts to all the children, and you might get one too. Yes, that's what we were brought up to believe. Little fairy tales and Tooth Fairy. Anyway.
Hello, Lunar Trees. Thanks for following.
So we have what is called in the North Pole a mountain called the Black Rock.
No, we don't. For those who don't know, Chris believes that the reason compasses point north is because that there's a giant magnet mountain bigger than Mount Everest at the North Pole. That's not true. That's not a thing. That's a conspiracy thing. So that's certainly interesting.
That's right. That's how the compass works. It's magnetic. And that's what creates...
It is magnetic. It's aligning itself with the magnetic field of the Earth.
It's our compass to point north. And that's why when you're in the south and you go into Alaska, when you go into Antarctica, the compass no longer works. You're out of range.
What? What? Cleodora with a $5 super chat says, I was a child when I believed in Santa. What's his excuse for believing in flat Earth now?
It's as simple as that. It's just like a cell phone.
Did Santa give you coal for Christmas? Chris, received globes every Christmas, and he's very upset about it.
An hour away into the mountains.
This person's going at it. Are they okay? I don't think so. In the last message, at least they brought up her obscene usage of a private jet, which, hey, fair enough. The rest is very strange, though.
In the woods, you're out of range. You get no signal. And that's exactly how this works, too. On a flat land, with the North Pole right in the middle, a projection, the Black Rock, emitting all these amazing, spectacular lights. Now, the problem is, where exactly are these lights going? Okay.
I'm not playing Taylor Swift parody songs. I'm not, yeah, I know parody's illegal. YouTube doesn't seem to, so...
Now, have you ever been outside on a cloudy day, cloudy night, shall we say, Can you see the stars? No, you can't. You can see.
Wait, when?
The sun, though. If outside on a cloudy day, cloudy night, shall we say? Can you see the stars? No.
On a cloudy night, not if there's clear enough times, but like if it's clouds obscuring it, then no. Yeah, he does have good hair.
Oh, you can't. You can see the sun though if it's not that thick.
Not at night. You said night. You said nighttime. Is it nighttime? If it's nighttime, you can't see the sun because it's nighttime. Sorry, I didn't finish a comment. Oh no, I read that one. I read that.
I like it when you can see. You know, I've done videos with that before. So you can't see the stars. What exactly are they emitting off of? I don't think it's the dome. Okay. I think there's a plasma up there that's projecting these stars. All right, and that's what the Bible says, water above. Okay. And that's where you get these flickering lights, these frequencies that you see with the stars.
For those who don't know, Chris basically takes his Nikon camera, whatever, zooms in on stars, and it's like flickery. They twinkle, as stars do. The reason for this is because you're seeing them through the atmosphere, and the atmosphere isn't a solid, consistent thing. It is a fluid. So, as the thickness and composition of the atmosphere in between you and that star changes, it causes fluctuations. The star isn't doing that. It's the light that's traveling through the atmosphere changing the way that it looks. So Chris thinks that that's the star doing that. It's not. He uses a camera, not a telescope, and then wonders why the stars don't look right.
They're probably only 70 miles up there, maybe 80 miles up there. Okay? That's all. That's my belief. And that's why you get these flickering stars. Or lights. Amazing light show is what I like to call it. What I would like to do is I would like to go down to the planetarium, maybe rent it out. The whole thing, you know. Just rent it out.
You can.
You could have a flat earth meet up there. I don't know if they'd allow that, though.
I mean, if you paid them, probably. They might think it's funny.
Show you some experiments in there, if it's possible, but I don't know. I don't know if.
What experiment are you going to run in the planetarium, Chris?
So, I want you to think about that over the weekend, you know, because it's perfect. It's exactly like the planetarium. Now, what's surrounding us is an ice wall. That's been proven too. Hundreds of feet high. Okay? All right? That's what contains all the water in this flat land. Okay? There's no disk in space. None of us believe there's a disk in space. There is no space.
I love when he says that, like it makes it sound more reasonable. Guys, you see all these Google image pictures of flat Earth and it's a disk in space. That's stupid. We don't believe that. We just don't believe in space. Chris, that's stupider. Chris, that's crazier. People are gonna hear that and go, what? That's not better. Stone Corbell says, how does he think the ice wall has been proven? I don't know. I don't know.
Don't you understand that? None. No space at all. Doesn't exist. It doesn't exist, and it sucks. Sorry, guys. It sucks. Anyway, that's my belief. And with the sun and the moon, okay? Now, the sun also could be projecting off of this plasma, or it could be in the dome. I'm not sure. All I know is when you zoom in...
I don't think he knows what plasma is either. He just uses it as a buzzword.
On a solar eclipse, you see another sun over here. And some people believe that is
like, I'm sure he's seen pictures and, like, video of plasma, so he'd be like, it's that thing, but he doesn't know what he's saying, he's just saying it. Because plasma glows. I've seen plasma glow. Stars glow. Plasma.
That's the real sun that's on the side right there. And what you're seeing up here is just a blob being reflected off of it. And it would make sense. Okay, it really would. It would make sense why
See, the Taylor Swift fan is back.
Shadows. There's hundreds of them.
How you doing?
I've spoken about that before. And I'm going to try to recreate that in my kitchen, if it's possible. I'm not sure how, but I'll come up with some ideas and see if I can recreate what we see up in the sky during an eclipse. Because I never knew that.
There it is. Racism.
Damn, I wish I did. Anyway.
Wait a minute. The creepy Taylor Swift person, who's also really angry, is super racist? I'm fucking shocked.
Now I want you to think about the plausible possibility of beyond flat Earth, okay? I want you to think about the mountains. The mountains that you see every day.
I don't see mountains every day. I don't live in a very mountainous place.
Okay? I want you to think about this. You know, sometimes you're driving on the highway and you see those layers. You know, sometimes they're straight, sometimes they're wavy like that. You know, now the scientists want you to believe that that's millions of years of soot and whatever. And then they could date it all the way back to when the meteor that killed all the...
No, they're in Twitch chat. Only mods can see them, which is funny.
dinosaurs. This is 65 million years ago. That's 10 million years ago.
Oh yeah, they're making a bunch of new accounts.
It's bullshit. Okay? These are layers that trees make.
That mountain's a tree on the bingo card. Mountains are trees on the bingo card. Those banana peels are gonna be good.
See these squiggly lines. What do you think created that? Would the rock melt? It's a petrified freaking tree trunk, for crying out loud. Just look at it. Look at it with your eyes. Okay, you can't do that on the highway, of course. I wouldn't pull over on a highway because cars are going 100 miles per hour. You might get killed. I would suggest you go up to a rock anywhere around and just look at that rock wall. Study it. Look at it. Look at the layers on there. Okay? All right? It's very simple to say that this is created with soot and grime over millions of years.
Anything is simple to say. The important part is evidencing it, which is what science does. Geology being the study of, like, the earth, of rocks, of geological features, does that. You're not. That's the difference.
But it's
not about saying something, it's about evidencing something in a way that stands up to peer review.
True. Okay, and now compare it to a tree trunk. Take a look at that. Look at Devil's Tower. There must be roots, and I had no idea that trees had these root systems that would go on for hundreds of feet. On a regular tree that's only about 50, 75 feet, tall. You're talking hundreds of feet of roots that are embedded in the ground. Okay, now could you imagine what's underneath Devil's Tower? Hundreds. There'd be a hell of a lot more than that, and it would be easy to prove, and that would be just...
Go prove it then. Go prove it and win your prize.
Dig up and find out these little tunnels, or roots. This root system that's underneath Devil's Tower. That's also petrified, I'm sure, too. Or maybe it isn't. Just like that scientist found a dinosaur remnant.
At this point, I'm not even mad. I'm impressed that the Taylor Swift person keeps making new goddamn accounts.
He found something.
This is a level of obsession that's, like, kind of impressive. At a certain point, you gotta appreciate it. I gotta share this with you, chat. The Taylor Swift person says, you never told me how big your penis is. Why do you want to know how big my penis is? That's an interesting question. This is going a very different direction. I have a weird-ass job.
He found, like, a bone from whenever. They carbon dated it 65 million years, but the tissue was soft. Okay, see, everything... We live under pressure here. Okay, and the only way you could have pressure is with a container. That's a fact. Okay, so if we have pressure here...
Chris, the atmosphere and atmospheric pressure that exists as a result is because of gravity.
The only way we can have pressure is it being contained. That's it. Bottom line. Sorry, you're in a container. You're on a flat, level ground, in a container, in a dome, and you're stationary. You're not moving. Everything else up there is moving. Okay? And when you look over here, that's why they see the stars opposite from us. And then when you look over here, I see it opposite from them. Okay? It's very simple. Very simple.
You have to use a different email for every new account. Is that true? Do they have like 17 different emails they use for this kind of shit? Holy fuck.
The Creator, God, he or she, whoever it may be, made it very simple for you to understand. But we've been inbred all of our lives with a globe in front of us and Star Trek and Star Wars and all these fucking movies that are out there.
Man, I caught a weirdo. I normally do.
And all of Hollywood putting a globe right anywhere that they want in every show that you love.
Do I think I have a bigger one? Probably not. Statistically, your behavior's making me question it, though. I wouldn't put odds. Statistically, I'd say if you were just a random person, I'd say statistically you'd probably win. Your behavior indicates we're more even than I would probably estimate, even considering I've been on T blockers and estrogen for years.
Conditioning.
I don't know your situation, though. I don't know your situation.
Recondition your thought process of thinking that you live on a spinning wet ball, but you don't. You don't.
I'm sorry, the vote emote made me die.
You live on a flat land. People have to get out of this zombiness that they're in, this trance, this...
Sheeple? Is he gonna do sheeple?
They just don't want to. I don't know why. I really don't. Even if you've went to school and you got all these major master's degrees and majoring in this and that, and you've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't change anything. Okay? And
I mean, it changes what do you mean it doesn't change anything? If you get a master's in something, I would hope you know about the thing you got a master's in.
You can create this. God created it. And the plausible possibility
Taylor
of,
Swift for
beyond
president
flat Earth is something that's also brought up in life itself, in you, in everything around us, being a digital world. Okay? And that's true. I'm a big believer in that.
Where'd the troll go? I missed them.
It's
there
too
they
perfect,
are.
I mean, the seasons come exactly when they should.
See, which is it? Did you think I had a bigger penis? Well, which is it? You were asking about my penis size. I feel like you're going in different directions now. Were you trying to make fun of me for having a small penis? Or are you trying to say that the hormones haven't done enough? You gotta pick one. You gotta pick one. I feel like you don't bully people very often. I think you could do a better
Go down
job.
to the south exactly when they should. A cut heals up exactly the way it should on your body. I think this is what God wanted to... Maybe he or she, whoever maybe, wanted us down here for a reason. The people that are woken up, obviously. The other people, I don't know who they are anymore. I really don't. I really don't know who they are. All I know is if I go to another funeral, I'm going to go nuts. Because I'm going to go crazy while I'm in there saying, I know why this happened. Don't give me this shit. All right. That's why I've been busy for the last couple of weeks. I can't get into it. That's personal shit. So, anyway.
Uh-oh.
I've lost my train of thought. It sucks. Oh, okay. How perfect everything is. Okay. All right. See, programming something like that would be very easy. We already have The Sims, all these games that we have out there. It's the same thing. It's exactly what we live in, but just on a different scale. On a scale that is just unbelievable. You ever understand, look at this flock of birds. If I count that flock of birds, I guarantee you the number is going to be odd. I always...
Fucking what? You think the birds are in on the conspiracy? Does he think birds are fake? Does he think birds aren't real?
You see that. 7 birds flying. I never really see 6 or 4. I always see an odd number, 5 or something like that.
It's going to be an odd number about half the time.
But I mean, it's just so perfect. I mean, the animals in the ocean, just name it. Name it. Name it. It is just absolutely perfect. Too perfect. But meanwhile, they want you to believe you live in this chaotic, world that's going to be exploding, and meteors are coming down, and you're flying through space at imaginable speeds.
He's afraid of the insignificance of his life, materially speaking, therefore he has to pretend reality isn't real, because if he's just a tiny person on a tiny planet, in a tiny solar system, in a tiny galaxy, in a giant, giant universe, then he feels insignificant, and that makes him feel uncomfortable, so he has to pray space away.
You're going 1.3 million miles per hour, chasing the sun at 500,000 miles per hour, and spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, and all this other bullshit. It's all nonsense. It's all garbage. Anyway, I thank you for subbing. I thank you for viewing my videos. Let me be a part of your life.
Thanks, Chris. So he's doing great. What's Hans up to? I don't know how long we'll get into this, but it's him. The title was Who Told Me About Fake Animals? So we're going to find out where Hans found out about fake animals. If you've never seen me cover Hans, I should point out that... True, Dr. Blast. Anyway, for those who don't know, when I've covered Hans in the past, he doesn't believe gorillas are real, chimpanzees, bonobos, toucans, penguins, zebras. He doesn't think these are real animals. He thinks they're fake.
In this video, I'm going to answer a question that somebody asked, and it's something that I've answered before, but I don't know if I've made a video specifically about it. I'm going to talk about how I found out about fake animals. And this was during just I don't want to say tumultuous, but it was definitely a part of my life when things were changing fast and I was learning a lot of new things, a lot of the ways I thought about life and, you know, the universe and where I live, and big things were changing in my life. And I was...
Which animals does Hans think are real? Squirrels, for sure. If it's an animal he's seen in person outside of a zoo, he believes in it.
Finding all sorts of new things out and looking at the world in new ways. And I had really strong faith at the time, and I just wanted more. And I remember where I was, and I remember praying with great intent. Like, thinking back, it's hard. Faith, it feels like a resource, and it feels like you cash in on it sometimes. And it feels like I had so much of it back then that I don't know if I could pray in the same exact.
Thank you. Happy anniversary. Cookies. Oh, yeah. I don't want to say what place these are from, but my wife ordered cookies because anniversary. Not wedding anniversary, anniversary when we first started dating. Anyway, these cookies are goddamn delicious and buttery.
Way today as I did in the moment when I prayed for revelation. That's what I prayed for. And this wasn't the first time. Before, like back in 2017, when I first woke up to, well, really it was like Pizzagate time and transvestigation time.
Transvestigation on the bingo card.
That was the first time I remember praying. I remember very, very intently saying, I don't care how much the truth hurts me, I just want to know the truth. And so the second time, this was before the animal thing, I was praying just very intently for revelation. And I could tell, I could just tell that I was cashing in on something that I just had, that I knew that this prayer would be answered. And it was very quickly, I want to say the next day or something. So this is interesting. One of the craziest shill channels of all time during the transvestigation days. I don't even want to say their whole name because it's blasphemous.
Did the troll leave? I'm kind of sad now. I think I got sad.
They called themselves an apostle. So who remembers Laura Lee? And hilariously enough, Laura clearly has an inverted skeleton and was just a psychotic. Probably, who knows what team they're working for, but they were something else. But this was right after praying for revelation. Scrolling through YouTube, I didn't follow this person or watch a lot of their videos. I don't know why. I was like, oh, let's see what this nutso is doing right now. She had a video where...
I hope so, Dr. Baha. I hope so too. I miss them. I'm concerned.
There was a gorilla in the news, and it was in the news...
I think I'm their best friend.
...for standing up like a human a lot. And she was like, that's a human in a suit. And in that video, she wasn't saying that every gorilla was a human in a suit. She was saying this particular one is a hoax. There's an actor inside of that suit. And that's all it took. In that time period, my mind was always taking things to the limit. Somebody tells me one gorilla is a person in a suit, my mind instantly is like, wait a minute. Maybe every gorilla is just a person in a suit. That's just where my mind was in that moment. So that's it. That was it. And
well, that's not a very thrilling story, isn't it? How did Hans come to believe animals were fake? He heard someone say one animal was fake, and he decided maybe all of them are fake. I don't know why I expected it to be better than that.
From there on, I started looking into all sorts of other animals and being like, hey, that's really sketchy. And I had some memories from my past come back. I remembered, oh yeah, dude, when I was little, going to the San Diego Wild Animal Park, I knew that their koala was a stuffed animal. So things just fell into place really quickly after that.
When he says no, he means I suspected, and I assume my suspicions were true, therefore I know it.
That answers the question. How did I figure out that gorillas are people in fursuits? Well, I personally believe that it was revelation from God. I think that God pushed me in the right direction.
He believes that strong belief is synonymous with knowledge.
And I think that, like, the memory that I had from my childhood, that's how big God works. Is
telling children animals aren't real?
It's just incredible that he was with me back then.
Gorillas aren't in the Bible, so obviously fake. You're new. You followed today, so I know you're making a joke, but here's the fun thing about my job. When new people come in and see Hans or someone like him, they'll make a joke like that, and I have to be the person to say, sorry, not a joke. Hans actually says that. One of his justifications for why he thinks certain animals are not real is because they are not mentioned in the King James Bible. So, satire is dead. Cool.
Making sure. My memory is so terrible, and it works in ways that I'm not like the kind of person where it's like, oh, I was this many years old when this happened. But certain things just stick, and it's amazing to see the type of scope that God works on. It's your whole life. So, yep, that's it. Nobody told, like, I don't think Laura Lee taught me about the fake animal thing. I just think that was a way for God to lead me in the right direction. I 100% think that the reason that I woke up to fake animals was revelation from God. And I'm not saying that to boost my own ego or anything like that. I'm just wanting to give credit where credit is due. That you can pray to God for revelation. And
King James is an especially bad translation and a favorite of so many evangelicals, unfortunately.
He will show you. If you really want the truth, that just goes back to how I woke up to anything. And how I found Jesus, is that I decided for myself.
Nemesaur! Holy shit, thank you for gifting 20 tier 1 subs! Dropping a sub bomb. Thank you, Nemesaur. How you doing? Hope you've been well. It's good to see you.
I wanted to know the truth, and that was enough to set things off. Little did I know that Jesus is the truth. That was
I hope one of those subs went to the troll.
big mind
lucky.
blow for me when I read that. And that he said that,
Nah,
too.
all real people. Probably
Okay.
for the best.
Okay, Acts chapter 2, verse 17. And it shall come to pass in the last days, saith God, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see
Prophesy.
visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. So, I hear a lot of people dreaming of apocalyptic things.
That's not unique to this time period. There are people who have had apocalyptic visions pretty much as long as human beings have had a concept of an apocalypse, so.
These days, my wife just had a apocalypse dream last night, and
Wild to me that he's married and has kids.
I don't.
This is why I can't take anyone seriously who's like, there's a male loneliness epidemic. I'm like, Hans has a wife. The bar's so low. If you can't exceed that bar, holy shit. Oh yeah, he has a wife and kids, and he homeschools his kids. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't get them a lot, but I have had apocalyptic dreams.
Why do I think he
past.
has this particular belief system? Is it a way to reassure his reality? Oh yeah. He believes in tons of conspiracies, and all of them appear to be based on his own insecurities, which isn't uncommon. And everyone does this. I am not exempt from this. Like, I've talked before about, like, I have had delusional beliefs myself in the past, and there are generally reasons people have them. They are usually not, they're irrational, but they are not arbitrary. Generally, people fill voids with stuff like this, or they try and soothe anxieties, or soothe their egos and worldviews. Hans always comes off to me like he wants the world to be very simple, biblical, and black and white. And because the world is very complicated and he has a lot of insecurities surrounding his own gender, his own masculinity, which he has illustrated and talked about in several videos we've watched, I think that brings a lot of the transphobia stuff to the surface, because he's not talked about it a ton in this video, but he talks about trans people a lot. If you don't know, also I should say, Hans thinks most people in the world are secretly transgender. Like, I'm trans, I am openly a trans woman, talked about that plenty, but Hans thinks everyone pretty much is secretly trans. Whatever your sex is, Hans thinks that your gender is the opposite most likely. He's got a lot of things going on, and his worldview is directed mostly by insecurities about how complicated the world is, things he doesn't understand, things outside of his fundamentalist biblical worldview, and anything that makes him feel like less of a man. It's pretty fucked up. Logard says, Hans actually figured out why there are so many suspiciously wealthy furries. We have really good unions and benefits for animal impersonators, so it's pretty lucrative, and the passions are awesome, or rather, pensions are awesome.
Decade. Some pretty crazy ones with portals opening up in the sky and stuff. So, another reason that I want to do this video is
He
that
thinks his parents are trans, yes.
sometimes people think that they need a source of
Does
information.
he think open trans people are cis? Yes.
And this is
He has explicitly done that before. If there is someone who is famous for being trans, he thinks they're cis. Correct.
another reason that I want to give God credit for just giving me revelation that about the fake animal thing, to look there. Anyone can do this. There's not some guru out there. I don't listen to any truth or YouTube channels out there. I don't really follow any of them, and I mean, go to people for their good ideas, but everybody should be looking for truth.
Everyone is insert here but me, so he thinks it's some sort of mind game. Yes, he is paranoid. Paranoia is a staple of conspiratorial worldviews. Specific theories are one thing, but when you're talking about someone who doesn't just believe one conspiracy that's compartmentalized in their personality, but someone whose entire being, worldview has been subsumed by conspiratorial paranoid thought, they have a constant sense of unease, and then unease requires an explanation. So they search for these explanations. Hans has found it in believing everyone around him is lying to him all the time. Why does he feel paranoid and irrational and uncomfortable about gender things? Oh, it must be because everyone in the world is lying to him about their gender. Like, that doesn't make sense logically, but for him, it is the psychological path of least resistance, which leads him to maintain the worldview he already has, whilst explaining the paranoia and uncomfortability without having to search within. He's projecting the feelings he is having outward, when in reality, the reason he's feeling these things are internal. He would need to seek therapy or have some self-reflection and really think through these things and why he feels that way, but instead of doing that, he externalizes the cause, and that way he can attack it outside of himself.
On their own terms, and everybody should ask God to show them the truth. And if you feel like you can share truth with other people, if you're passionate about this stuff, go ahead, ask for revelation. This is like an encouragement. I don't think I'm special. I think anyone can do this. That's a big part of my channel in general, is sure, the most views and the people who get the most groupie people following them and able to be loved by YouTube and use clips from media without getting struck down and able to monetize their videos and etc., etc. That's not, you don't have to want those things. If you have realistic expectations and you want just to share the truth, anybody can come up with amazing revelations that can be shared. You don't have to make it in a way that the world typically wants to. Anyways, I just think that a lot of people should be out there trying to find new truths and share the truth with others. And Luke chapter 12 verse 2, for there's nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Here's some Bible verses about truth. Jesus is the truth. You shall know the truth shall make you free. That's it for this video. I think I said everything that I wanted to say. God bless everyone.
That's Hans. Logarth says, Amazing Revelation feels like the name of an evangelical 1980s public access show. It does, doesn't it? This guy's the QAnon pedophile guy.
This is David Trent Todeschini coming to you from the beautiful hills of southern North Carolina, bringing you the facts behind the news and the story that contradicts the mainstream media lies, hoping to convince you that the apparency of reality is in fact entirely fabricated and the illusion only appears to be true.
Yeah, the one
but in the
interviewed by
battle
Channel
for the
5
survival of the
before
American
Channel 5
Republic
came out.
and Western civilization, we must expose these illusions in order to bring about and nurture a greater awakening that will preserve our God-given rights and freedoms, not only for ourselves, but for our...
Q pedophile guy doesn't narrow this down. Yeah, I can explain that. Basically, this guy was in a documentary that was on HBO. He's a QAnon guy. He believes in the Q stuff and the quote-unquote save the children. Of course, actual trafficking is a problem, but he doesn't believe in real trafficking. He believes in fake QAnon, satanic Democrat pizza place stuff. Anyway, it was ironic because it turned out he is a convicted pedophile. In the 90s, he was convicted of... Think about, you know the thing he would go to jail for. He did that, and he went to jail. He was convicted. And yet he's still doing QAnon stuff and claiming, like, he's trying to save children, so.
Our progeny and for all the future generations of human souls on this planet. We
yeah, it does come off very 14-wordsy.
not only must plant the trees whose shade we will never live long enough to enjoy, but first we must uproot the poisonous trees we have for so long.
Oh yeah, That's 100%, like, just trying to dog whistle the dog whistle.
Been deceived and in the gap for God. Welcome to the most deleted, shadow banned, demonetized, censored, and trolled channel on social media. Recipient of the Patriot Warrior Purple Q Award.
Purple Q? What?
750,000 truckers are headed to Texas. 25 states are sending their National Guard. Bikers and private citizens are joining in. The deep state's diapers are overflowing. This is not a civil war. This is a revolt.
Not mutually exclusive. A revolt. An uprising would be kind of like, by definition, a civil war. That's rhetoric you're trying to do, basically. You're trying to differentiate. Like, I don't think that's what's happening anyway, but if it was, it would be a civil war, so...
A kinetic uprising. Nothing can stop what's coming. This will not bode well for you traitors. The invasion of Soros-backed non-uniformed enemy combatants will end. We the people are taking our country back.
Hi, Mallow.
And ain't a fucking thing anyone can do about it. All of you scumbags in D.C. who are compromised by Epstein and China.
Reminder! He's using Epstein as some sort of thing here, which Epstein was a piece of shit. But this guy's a convicted pedophile. The irony. It hurts me. Hydrate.
Or about to become road pizza. Your demons won't help you now.
Yikes.
22nd, 19...
There he
and
is.
25 states have beautiful, say, inglorious patriots. It is January 28th, 2024, and the time now is 22:52 hours Eastern Time here in beautiful southern North Carolina. Well, my friends, in less than a few hours, 750,000 trucks are headed to Texas.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and doubt that number.
And 25 states have pledged to send their National Guard to Texas to do what? I don't know. To stop this tyranny from the traitor-in-chief.
The tyranny? The Supreme Court literally ruled in his favor. The Supreme Court is packed with Trump and Republican nominees. What are you even complaining about? They literally just said that they can cut the razor wire if they need to.
Joseph Robinette Biden.
I don't even understand what that was supposed to mean. Purple Nope, or rather, sorry, Pearlnelope with 100 bits says, all I have to say is none of the people arrested for child sex trafficking have ever been a drag queen. They're always this guy. Yeah.
This could very well lead to Revolution 2.0. A lot of people say it's a trap, but I don't know how you're going to trap 750,000 truckers.
There are not going to be 750,000 trucks.
The deep state is
Mellow
shitting
Honey,
their
thanks for a tier 2 subscription.
diapers right now, wondering how the fuck they're going to stop this. And I'm wearing my cowboy hat to show that I am. am in solidarity with those truckers
Really wants a civil war on the bingo card?
and the people of Texas who have had it up to here. And in fact, it's a lot too little, too late as far as I'm concerned. This shit should have stopped the minute it started. The non-uniformed enemy combatant invaders should have been fired upon immediately when they illegally crossed the border.
So this convicted pedophile literally wants people crossing the border shot? In a universe where that's the thing, how does he think convicted pedophiles get treated? Just a thought.
But that's neither here nor there. I hope that they get the message, but they're not going to give up, because I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, this is the classic prison mentality.
You would know because you were in prison for years for being a pedophile.
As far as the deep state goes, it's the classic prison mentality. Excuse me a minute while I switch this hat. This.
Hold on. Do I have something that stupid and embarrassing? Give me a sec. He said war. We'll do war vibes. Fuck it. Bullet crown.
Is the classic prison mentality. You're in for life, you're never going to see the light of day. So it doesn't make any difference if you stab somebody in the shower over a crackhead soup, because they can't do nothing more to you except stick a needle in your arm. And that's probably preferable than spending the rest of your life in prison with no possibility of parole. Their life literally depends on keeping Trump out of office by any means necessary. And there are people, Dan Bongino, everybody is talking about a possible assassination. Let me tell you something, folks. Let me tell you something, deep state. You even try it, and you will sign your own death warrant. You won't be able to walk.
Okay, anger at this guy being a convicted pedophile aside, I do find it interesting and wonder how much of this is based on the fact that he is such a terrible person, and he is aware of what a terrible person he is, that he has to completely divorce himself from reality on a fundamental level, and live in a fantasy world where he casts himself as a hero who doesn't harm children, but protects children from Satanists. I feel like a lot of this is him literally, he just can't cope with how he has ruined his life and who he is. So in its place, he has to live this fantasy where he's actually a good guy. He's actually a good guy trying to help children, not the reality of what he did. It's a hypothesis, at least. Stoner Gamer says, glad I could catch the stream. I don't know if you need another conspiracy guy who's so confident he's right on here, but his NASA playlist and VS playlist is pretty good. He also thinks Will Smith is Tyler Perry. That sounds familiar. I've definitely heard of this guy before. Oh wow, he's talking about football a lot recently, which I don't know a ton about, but that sounds familiar. Make sure I put that under conspiracies. Thank you much. Where was this guy? There he is. Catches us up.
Down the street without somebody swinging a club at you or firing a bullet at you. That's a fact.
No?
And you can take that to the bank, cash the check, and spend the money. Not my words. The words of everybody around here on the internet.
So your words that you're paraphrasing from the internet? What the fuck are you talking about? Everyone is saying. All my other paranoid, convicted pedophile friends feel this way, therefore. See why that doesn't work?
Awake and has two brain cells to rub together. And you can go down and you seal yourself into those little tunnels.
What if Trump died of natural causes? Then they will claim that he was murdered.
Find out.
That's an easy one. That doesn't even take... I don't even have to think about that one. They would claim he is murdered.
You get how you got in there.
Trump could live to 119 years old and literally die on camera saying, I'm dying of natural causes. I lived a long life. And there would still be most MAGA people who are like this. QAnon people would say it was a deep state murder.
Oh, the entrance is shut. and we'll pour thousands of gallons of liquid ass down there so you'll fucking choke to death.
This guy's got anger issues.
This shit should have ended 3 years ago when it started. But now, the people of the United States have had enough. 750,000 trucks. I don't know where the fuck they're going to get the diesel from. They're probably going to carry it in jerry cans on the way down there. Because if you have 750,000 trucks passing a 76 truck stop, I don't care how much gas they got in there. Or they'll have tanker trucks in that convoy there.
It's funny that he's even now talking about all the logistical issues of moving 750,000 trucks anywhere.
Texas.
Like, yeah, at that point you're talking about logistics on par with, like, the military. Don't think you're gonna do it. Estimate is around 200 vehicles there. My goodness. How will the country cope?
And you're not counting the bikers that are going to show up and the private citizens in their own vehicles driving down there. So, this is not going to end well for the deep state. And with that many people, you ain't going to trap shit off, deep state. Get that through your thick skull. They're going to try to cut off the funding, but I guess they got that figured out as well. I don't know what they're going to do. The U.S. military is not going to fire upon their own citizens.
Oh, you lived during a time when that literally happened. What?
So,
is he unfamiliar with history he was alive for?
Get that out of your head, assholes.
Right? Like, there's no way he doesn't know about the Kent State, like, massacre, right? How? How in the world?
So we'll see what we'll see. We'll cover it. I mean, for me to cover it would be a duplication of effort because it's all over the internet. But this does not bode well for the deep state, the traitor-in-chief, and all the freaks he's got working for him.
Sir, you're a convicted pedophile. You don't get to call anyone a freak. You're literally the one person that everyone in the world agrees is the worst. So stop.
Country back, motherfucker. You better believe it. Thank you very much for watching.
What an asshole.
State-induced.
Oh, and his sponsor is Mike Lindell. Did I point that out? Sorry. He has a code for MyPillow. That's on brand. Terradona says, how cute, a guy that doesn't think the military won't shoot him if ordered to do so.
Ever since the Great Awakening, thousands of content creators like myself have been burning the midnight oil well into the wee hours of the morning, and millions of us who are awake are not getting enough sleep. Everyone knows that a good night's sleep is essential for efficient functioning of the cognitive processes that enable a person to...
Does Mike Lindell know that there's a known convicted pedophile shilling his pillows? Not a great look. Oh, this is kind of interesting. This combines two of my favorite things. Conspiracy theories and old, like, vintage VHS footage. It's like this video was specifically made for me. Huh. Let's check it out.
You know, I love these nostalgic videos, but I keep seeing comments from people talking about how they miss those simpler times. Listen, life is not complex. The issues in the world, they're not complex. There's just a lot of people pumping up a lot of volume to try to make things seem complex so they can try to make some people feel stupid, and so they can try to make some other people feel like they don't have the energy or the effort or the will to actually figure shit out and accomplish anything.
Okay, so this is interesting because the first sentence I agree with when he's like, people always look at these nostalgia videos and are like, oh, things used to be so simple. I legitimately thought when I first pulled this up that I was going to be like, oh, never mind, he's not actually doing the thing. I thought he was going to say what I would say, which is, no, you were a kid back then. You're nostalgic for that time period, and it seems simpler to you because you had less of an understanding of the nuances and complexities of the world around you when you were a child, right? But no, he went the exact opposite. He went the exact opposite and said, actually, your nostalgia isn't an illusion. Adult complexities and nuance that are complicated and anxiety-inducing, those are fake. So basically, he thinks that everything is naturally supposed to be as simple and easy as when he was a child. And if it isn't, then it's a conspiracy, which is not good.
It's all about trying to drain your spirit. And
it isn't. There's no them. There's no big them out there trying to destroy your spirit. You're depressed. You have depression or anxiety or a combination of things, and you are trying to project why that is outward. And that's not to say that there aren't material, real reasons to be depressed. Of course there are. People are isolated from one another. People feel less opportunity. They feel like the future is fucked. They feel like we're all being controlled by rich assholes. But that doesn't mean that there's a cabal of individuals planning to hurt you. We have bad systems. We have bad incentive sets. That does not mean that it is all orchestrated. Things can be bad just 'cause.
And the thing is, back in these awesome, epic, nostalgic times, what was going on?
Epic, oh my god, he's like John Doyle aged. I'm getting a little warm, so I'm gonna take this off.
Wasn't that things were really that much simpler. If you look back to 2005 and up until the shit really hit the fan, I would say around 2014, 2016. What we had the internet, we had messages.
Good thing nothing happened earlier in this century than 2005 that would have been considered a pretty big moment when things changed socially and politically. How old is this kid?
Message boards. We had things that are very similar to today's social media, but there was a difference. We went on those message boards to share our passions, and yes, sometimes we had like negative, passionate opinions. But they were very...
Oh my god, is he gonna try and say that old forum culture was super positive and great? Holy fuck.
Very different from the opinions of today. Back then, it was a dialogue, it was a discussion.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. In 2005, no, the internet was not some place where everyone got along and everyone just had dialogue with each other. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Holy shit. Fuck off. You are too young to have that opinion. That is so stupid. I'm not even that old and I know that's bullshit. I was on the internet in 2005, and 2004, and 2003, and 2000... Like, come on!
It was a conversation. If you didn't like a movie, oftentimes you enjoy talking about...
Oh my god, what is that fucking site that was the nerd site from back in the day? Something Cool News? Oh my god, yeah, a bastion of just accepting other people's opinions on things.
That movie, like...
The internet has always been toxic because people are toxic.
Even if
the internet exacerbated and warped things we already do in the real world, it didn't create new ones.
You were picking it apart back then. It wasn't the same as it is today, where people are not just picking things apart or discussing things that they might not enjoy or...
If you want to look at what the internet was like in the early 2000s or the 90s, 4chan. 4chan.
Anything of that nature. They're really just...
To be clear, 4chan at its worst. It wasn't always that bad. But, like, that's what I'm talking about. It was not moderated well, and when it was moderated by petty, weird tyrants who decided that their moderator position on the Digimon forum gave them a small amount of power, so they needed to abuse it. You know what I mean? It was either no moderation or mods had weird political bullshit going on, and I don't mean politics in the Republican Democrat way, I just mean in the there's weird interpersonal politics on the forum that get involved.
Hating on things. And
nah, the anti-Swifty left.
There is a difference. Back then, it was a sense of passion that led to discussions about, this is how I would have done things, this is the movie I would have made, this is the gameplay that I enjoy.
People bullied Jake Lloyd from Star Wars Episode 1 so badly, he had to leave his school because he was suicidal. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
This is the tune that makes me feel the beat. But now, it's just about saying, I hate—
oh my god, I feel ancient. The nostalgic video is showing someone setting up an Xbox 360 display. Ah! 4chan is from the mid-2000s. Yeah, he said 2005. He's talking about 2005. That's nostalgic to him. He is saying 2005 is so old. It was a golden age.
I hate this thing. This thing's horrible. This thing doesn't need to exist. And that is pervasive throughout all of—
Sega does what Nintendo don't. Did he think that that shit all went super cool with people in person, not even the internet? You think everyone was super cool about their weird nerdy shit?
our culture right now at the moment. So realistically, these times, these nostalgic times, they weren't simpler. They were more positive. Even with sharing those negative opinions about video games, movies, and music, and day-to-day life, TV, whatever, you know, we were having fun with it. It wasn't that we had this overwhelming sense of negativity within us that we just had to go.
Is this guy aware that you can find spaces online that do talk about things in a constructive or interesting way that doesn't get hostile? You just need to look for it.
Out and destroy.
Like, if you're finding yourself only in incredibly negative spaces like that, that's a you problem.
Something. It was that we had this incredible sense of passion to discuss these things, to think about these things, to envision these things, and that's what's missing from today. But while you could blame this generation, and while I do think to a degree the way that this generation came up, that, you know, the 80s and 90s babies, we got this sense of progression, and I think that it did.
How old is he?
Add to a sense of gratitude, but I don't think that people are just ungrateful today.
He says 80s and 90s babies, and then included himself in it. There's no way this guy was born in the 80s, right? He had to have been born in, like, December 1999. I just feel, what the fuck? Oh my god, he's got a whole fucking website. Oh no. I am Mystic Warrior, a real-life Jedi and observer of the so weird happenings on our planet. I am a hero, I am kind, and I care that so many are suffering due to poor and downright evil leadership on both sides of the aisle. You are not to blame. The leaders did it. The leaders are not leaders, but oppressors, controlling, distorting, and ruining your life. Artists have long tried to offer a reprieve, humor, hope, adventure, and excitement to drown out the evil noise seeking to inflict nothing but misery on us all. May the Force be with you always. Ugh. Joined in 2019. Let me look at this website over here real quick. Oh, his website's very Web 1.0. Oh, there is it. This guy? I know. Okay, he sounds younger than he looks. Forgot we were listening to a guy I had other videos about.
That's not been my rhetoric for a very long time here on this channel. What I think is going on is that there is a very toxic influence in society.
It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. They did not need that many copies at Blockbuster, let me tell you, not worth it.
And it is pushing people to be not just negative-minded, but to be full of a toxic, pervasive, negative energy. And I know that stuff sounds really hippy-dippy and out there and hocus-pocusy, but I have found that there is just so much truth to it. And really, it's also brought me to a wonderful place of joy when it comes to enjoying what we do have today, and also using that positive, nostalgic, loving, passionate energy from the before times to remember what I enjoy about life, and to remember to appreciate the things that I enjoy about life. I do think that today, in general, there might be less good movies, less good games.
Fewer.
There's definitely
also the economy of games has changed. It requires a lot longer dev time, or at least the way the studios are doing things has a lot more dev time, and there are fewer games because they're more expensive. I do think that that's a problem, but it's not a problem being created by a conspiracy. It's a problem of economics. It's a industry problem. It's a capitalism problem.
A lot fewer games, especially if you're a genre fan, you know. If you're into single-player, first-person shooter games, or even third-person shooter games, there aren't a lot of...
I like that in his head he's like, ah yes, the breadth of gaming entertainment. First-person shooter games, or even third-person shooter games. The two genres of games, first and third-person shooters. I love Eat Led, the Matt Hazard story, or whatever the fuck it was. COD and Fortnite, the two genders. Doesn't understand their problem is capitalism on the bingo card. Indeed.
Really excellent story-driven experiences to enjoy. It's a lot.
Baldur's Gate 3 just recently came out. Like, there are a bunch of games that have come out recently that have gotten, like, tons of praise. I don't know why you're acting as though there aren't good video games. Probably because you think that women being in something is evil or whatever.
A lot of competitive online experiences, and I also think that those
There actually is a second-person shooter. It's kind of interesting.
Have contributed.
It's gimmicky. You basically see from the perspective of whoever you're fighting. It's interesting. I think the story is supposed to be that you're like... I think you're a blind assassin with psychic abilities that can see through the eyes of others. Could be wrong, but I remember seeing that at some point.
In a negative way to the mindset that is just so pervasive today. I think that when you don't have those incredible adventures to go on, that you're kind of drained of a sense of passion. You know, I don't think that something like Fortnite can give an experience.
Here it is! Here it is! Here it is! I don't like this new video game as much as I liked new video games when I was 8 years old. And I think that that really says something about society instead of the fact that I'm an adult and don't enjoy entertainment the same way I did when I was a child and the world was fresh and new. Like, no, the world didn't change, bitch, you did! You changed! Kids today, or whenever Fortnite came out, because that was a while ago now, are gonna look back on Fortnite the same way you look back on whatever game you find nostalgic, or whatever game they play now. The games you played as a kid, sure, they may have been special for the time, but that's not, like, what makes them great. It's that they were special to you. That's what nostalgia is. Like, I absolutely loved, like, so many games when I was a kid. Mario Sunshine. It's hard to pick up now, though, you know? Things age, things change, it's good, it's fine. I am continually finding new games that are, like, wonderful and amazing that come out every year. I don't know how you could see the media industry and not find things. I'm not saying everything coming out is good, especially not if you're just getting, like, the most expensive corporate stuff that, you know, is designed by committee. But do you know how many indie games come out every year? Do you know how many mid-budget games come out? Enough. You can find plenty of great games, or movies, or whatever, every year. I'm sorry you don't like them as much as when you were as a kid. You were a kid. You're nostalgic. You're not being rational. Bummel Homestead says, good news, the former semi-feral stray cat we brought in has learned to sit in my lap and cuddle. Bad news, she has not learned how to retract her claws, and I am now a pincushion. One step at a time. At least you're a pincushion with a cat.
And again, I'm not trying to put down Fortnite, but what I'm trying to point out is just that if you can...
Again, this came out last month. This is not old. Fortnite is not even a new game. I'm sure there's some other game that kids like now that isn't even Fortnite. I don't know. I don't know what kids like.
Remember being
But at least I know I don't know what kids like. You know what I mean?
80s or 90s kid, or if you...
I gotta look. When did Fortnite come out? ...2017. So, 7 years ago. Fortnite came out 7 years ago.
Like nostalgic media about those times. I think what you'll see is that there was a magic, there was a mystery. There were things that just kind of got into your mind, and you would enjoy.
That was because you were a child.
Enjoyed thinking about them, you enjoyed talking about them, and that really was.
Wait. Do you think I still feel? Do you not enjoy things like? Again, it sounds like he has depression. It sounds like he is depressed.
Very healthy way to live. It was a really great experience to have, and there's no reason why we can't have those experiences today. I mean, just the one thing that I don't think this generation will ever truly be able to understand. God, I sound like an old man. But I also think that it's something that our generation is also kind of missing out on. Like, we used to have to watch TV on a schedule, even with TiVo, even with like recording things on VHS, and holy shit, they're going to be people asking, what the fuck's a VHS?
I hate when people do that shit.
But I think
I think people probably know. They're aware. When I was a kid, I was aware what a record was, even though I didn't see one until I was older.
We miss out on the fact that right now...
Kids aren't idiots. Like, kids are kids. They're not... I'm not expecting kids to know the same things as adults, but, like, don't treat kids like they're fucking idiots.
There's so many different ways to enjoy the entertainment that we used to truly live for. I mean...
That's pathetic. That's pathetic. I love entertainment. You guys know that. I love it. But if that's all you're living for, that's pathetic.
Why did we
find other things in your life other than media to, like, circle your life around? That is so unhealthy. You should not depend upon the consumption of media produced by others to be okay.
I want to be sick out of school so we could sit up on the sofa, have a good meal, and watch just great entertainment. And while there might not be as much great entertainment being produced right now...
There's more great entertainment being produced every day now than there has been in any point in human history. Access to creative tools and avenues to share your works on places like YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, even fucking BitChute, Rumble, wherever. There are more places than ever and easier than ever to create something and share it with people. And the idea that it's somehow worse today just tells me you don't know anything. This is so frustrating. This just makes me sad. This just makes me so sad. He doesn't even know that he needs help.
Depending on your subjective preferences. I think the fact that we have so much of it at our fingertips that can be accessed anytime that we want. I mean, we just don't have that excuse that we used to have, oh, there's nothing good on. Shit, we have most of the stuff that we love directly at our fingertips that can be accessed anytime. And that's incredible. And we're not getting to enjoy it. There is a pervasive, toxic energy that is just dominating all of us. And that's something that I've been talking about for a long time on this channel. It's just the fact that those times were not simpler. They were a more positive time. And
that's so asinine. This is him, by the way.
So I finally solved the puzzle. And as most people who've been looking into this for longer than I have...
Based on the teeth, we're long-lost siblings.
Since I've been blind, stupid, and dumb, you know, it started in Egypt. because that's when supposed civilized societies started, but actually that's when oppression by the haves against the have-nots truly began. And I gotta hand it to them. The Jews really have been oppressed since the beginning of time, and it makes sense, especially if you can.
Okay, multiple things. I'm glad he's at least not an anti-Semite. Probably. Good. Secondly, the pyramids weren't built by Hebrew slaves. They weren't built by slaves. And thirdly, Egypt is not the beginning of time. It's not the beginning of human civilization or history.
Consider the ancient alien theory that beings from the sky came down and helped build those pyramids. Well, that would also mean that they empowered the pharaoh. And basically, it's that whole god complex shit where the star beings, you know, they created shit, and then they...
The flag is a Legend of Zelda Triforce. It says courage, wisdom, and presumably on the part I cannot see, power. Is that the third one? Wisdom, courage, power. It's a Zelda flag. Cleodora with a $5 super chat says, this man claims movies are worse now in an age of the MCU when he's clearly old enough to remember the Matt Salinger Captain America VHS movie.
Chose a few evil...
Pull over, I'm gonna be sick.
Cocksuckers, and they're like...
Steals car.
Hey, come here, you can be kind of like us. You can rule over people. And the best way to rule over people is to pick a group that you really don't like and just oppress the shit out of them. And so they oppressed the shit out of the Jews, of course they did. And then this followed when the star beings came back and they empowered Nazi Germany. And it's like, why do they keep going after the Jews in history? Why is there this thing there? And I'm not even being, you know, a pro-Israel person, because the whole Israel-Palestine conflict has nothing to do with Judaism. The evil people in power of Israel hide behind religion that they don't even practice. There are wonderful Jewish people in Israel who
this is a lot.
Are supporting Palestine and are against the oppression that Israel is doing. But the whole reason would be is that if you are an evil group of people who's oppressed people for a very long time, then you would want to take out the people who understand what true oppression looks like. That would be the Jews. So that's why that happened in Nazi.
I'm bouncing off this one. I don't know where this is going from here, but we're only a third into the video, and I don't need to know where it's going, so let's find something else.
Josh Sigurdson, a World Alternative Media here, and it's time to take apart this Elon Musk psyop, and we really need to go into...
So I don't like Elon Musk. Neither does this guy. Unfortunately, he doesn't like Elon Musk for bullshit reasons instead of the real reasons, you know, like that he's a piece of shit.
Some detail here today as we see Elon call for a carbon tax. Now, this is what he posted on Twitter. He posted a video from Farzad that says Elon Musk's unbelievably simple killer breakdown on climate change, because of course he's still pushing that nonsense while claiming he's pro-human.
Yeah, I don't like Elon Musk, but climate change is a thing. It is a thing. So, yeah, being pro-human would be trying to take action on climate change.
He says the only action needed to solve climate change is a carbon tax. Now, I don't know if you're in Canada, you already know that this tax on air is around. It's been around in Norway
tax
since
on air.
Early 90s. Of course, he added this: we should not, for example, impose draconian laws on farmers or make citizens uncomfortable by limiting air conditioner usage. Okay, that's obvious. But then he goes on to say, keep tax revenue constant, but shift it to tax what is probably bad,
Mr. Blast, thanks for 33 months.
CO2, just like alcohol and cigarettes are taxed more than fruits and vegetables. It sounds a lot like something Bill Gates would say. CO2 is probably bad. No, it's literally plant food. It's
Oh my god. But when you get too much, water is also good, but if you drink too much water, you die. You fucking drown. Oh my god. This fucking argument about climate change drives me crazy. See, plants like CO2. Okay, but if you have too much, we will all die. That's also not the only greenhouse gas.
What makes things the way they are. You cannot survive as a human without even an increased amount of CO2.
No, he's just making shit up now.
And of course, you know, you have trees, these carbon capture devices that people like Bill Gates wants to bury. They want to put huge machinery everywhere that allegedly pulls in CO2, when at the end of the day, it causes a huge amount of hazards, environmental hazards included. Yet they want
what? What?
To bury trees. It's absolutely absurd. Now, I'm not saying Elon wants to do that.
Bury trees? I don't know what you're talking about. Like, if trees had the capability and other photosynthesizing organisms had the capability of dealing with the carbon or other things that we're putting into the atmosphere, rather, CO2 and other greenhouse gases, then we wouldn't have an issue. But our usage of things that put CO2 and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere outpaces the level at which it is removed and converted into oxygen by plants. Thus the issue?
But he is quoting something that is very similar to what Gro Harlem Brundtland, the former Prime Minister of Norway, as well as Maurice Strong from Canada, put forward back with Our Common Future at the United Nations for Sustainable Development back in 1987, which led to the Rio Summit, and in 1992, the creation of Agenda 21. And that's not all. Alongside that, he wants to put brain implants in people. And there's a lot more that I want to add to that, including Pentagon contracts, etc. So we're going to go into this and more today. We need to break this down as independent media bows at the feet of Elon Musk, thinking that he is some kind of hero to them.
Burying trees is one method of carbon capture. The idea is to put the carbon back into the ecosystem and make room for other trees to grow. Gotcha. Understood.
But
he was being so broad and weird about it, I had no idea what he was talking about.
It seems as though it's
reductio ad absurdum.
It's quite the opposite of this. So we're going to get into this and more today, my friends. Before we do, I urge people to check those links below. We have heavensharvest.com for long-term storable foods that are...
Oh, he's shilling on the bingo card, trying to sell slop kits.
On GMO, there's organic kits, heirloom seeds, water filtration and storage, and books on how to get started. Use code WAM, W-A-M, and you get free shipping on much of these products. Again, this is a way to avoid the Great Reset. This is a way to get your family prepared. If you don't do it today, you might not have a chance tomorrow when all this stuff goes down as they try to destroy.
Basically, the point is be very afraid and buy things from me.
The supply chain, as well as poison the food using carbon.
Shill. Where the fucking shills at, man?
Credits.
Right on.
On CBDC.
They're still going, by the way. The PP show is going... There was a period where they switched to 3 days a week because they were having lower viewership. The PP show is now 5 days a week again, chat. That is still going. They are still going. I'm not covering it. I will eventually, maybe, but just nothing new has happened. They just keep going.
These to force rations on you that could kill you. Speaking of poison food, there's a solution to that as well. And all these links.
Oh, I bet you're willing to sell it to me too.
Are in the description. Again, that's code WAM, W-A-M, over at Heaven's Harvest. But at Wild Pastures, you could get non-mRNA meat, 20% off for life.
Non-mRNA meat. A sentence that definitely means something. I know what he means. What he's really trying to get across probably is that they have not been vaccinated with an mRNA vaccine. Which I don't know if any cattle are being inoculated with an mRNA vaccine for anything. They're a relatively new technology. But, no, I don't think this is... I think this is just a scam. I think this is literally just a scam. I'm pretty sure he's scamming people.
$15 off your first box. 100% grass-fed and finished beef, pasture-raised pork, pasture-raised chicken, and wild-caught seafood. No mRNA, no GMOs, hormones, antibiotics, steroids.
No... Chemical fear-mongering on the bingo card.
It's feedlots, pesticides, or any other chemical all raised on
this food has 0 chemicals, let me tell you.
regenerative family farms.
You can fit so few chemicals in this thing.
In 48 US states, delivered to your door, temperature controlled. Very good stuff. And again, it allows you to avoid, of course, pink slime, mystery meats, modified RNA, GMOs, all that kind of stuff. All while at
this is 100% gotta be like white label generic meat that some company is buying and sticking a label on to trick crazy people, right? Like, this is just normal, like, fucking factory farm chicken and beef that they're just putting green logos on.
at the same time, saving the
That's speculation. I don't know that, to be clear.
Farmers, which is a huge part of this, is helping local farms which are under attack in this push for the Great Reset. All the while, you're saving.
Are they under attack, or are the economies of scale destroying their business model?
Money.
Because I feel like it's probably the second one.
On the meat overall. So I think this is a really good deal. Check our link. You can only get this deal through our link. I urge you to get on this today. Again, that's 20% off for life, plus $15 off your first box over at Wild Pastures. Now, let's get into this. So, Elon Musk has put forward this idea for a carbon tax. Now, as many of you may know, many years ago in Canada, Justin Trudeau put this forward. And since they've constantly raised the price, it hasn't actually stopped pollution. If anything, it's just pushing us further into a world where
you think it's not supposed to stop it, it's supposed to stem it? It's supposed to make it a commodity that therefore has to be dealt with in a marketplace so that companies are forced to have systems and incentives put upon them that restrict their use of things that release that stuff into the atmosphere. It's placing a regulatory incentive set to make them behave better and pollute less. Like, a seatbelt doesn't guarantee you're not going to die in a car crash, but it helps your chances.
We end up working as a slave.
It disincentivizes unregulated and unmonitored release of emissions that are dangerous.
5% of the time to then pay for stuff 25% of the time. It's an absolute fraud, the taxation system. But many of you might remember back in 2017, March 2017, before the carbon tax in Canada, I went in front of Justin Trudeau at a press conference, and the government came up to me and said I could ask only 1 of 5 questions. I said I have my own question, and they told me to stand to the side. During the press conference, between questions, I asked them, how do you justify people having to choose between feeding their family and heating their home in the winter in rural communities due to your carbon tax? And he said I was being rude. I was attacked. I was thrown to the ground, hand around my neck. I was kicked out. And as I was going out the door and about to be arrested for asking him a question, I remember Justin Trudeau smirked and smiled and kind of winked at me, to which I responded, shame on you and your globalist counterparts. You're a scumbag, an absolute scumbag.
Shame on you and your globalist counterparts. Got him?
It went super viral, and it forced him to talk about this, but it did not stop him from pushing forward this carbon tax. Of course, he's working for bigger players far above him.
The problem is with that question, which, hey, I think you should have the right to ask whatever you want. But the thing is, you're begging the question. You're not using a question to ask something in good faith. You're trying to make a moment in which you get to make a statement in the guise of asking a question, and it makes you look like a douchebag. So there you go.
So it's not like he even has a choice in the matter anyway. But the point is, it needed to be spoken of. It needed to be talked about. And since then, they've raised it again and again and again. It's dramatically hurt farmers, which Elon Musk obviously knows either nothing about or he's complicit in, just like he was with the vaccine. And now he's like, oh, I'm against the vaccine. They're always years late. It's like Brett Weinstein and this whole dream team of idiots that are in independent media that are bowing at the foot of Elon Musk. And again, you see people like We Are Change, like Luke Rudowski, bowing at the feet of Elon Musk, saying that he needs to work for the next Trump administration. And then it's just...
He worked for the last Trump administration. Do they not remember Elon Musk was on a special committee appointed by Trump during, like, the first year of his administration, and Elon ended up leaving that committee in the first 6 months? I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember that happening.
These people are so statist and they continue to follow the new narrative that's been put forward as amazing.
It was like I don't remember what it was, like a committee of different private business owners that Trump was supposed to be, don't know if he ever did. It might have just been an optics thing, but he was supposed to like ask them their like opinion on certain things, on policy decisions and stuff.
Polly points out on Twitter this cross promotion of fake independent medias, or as David Icke has been calling out for a while now, mainstream alternative media, which is a huge problem. And they're
mainstream alternative media,
all
controlled opposition on the bingo
simultaneously card, bowing at Elon Musk's feet as he's in Israel, bowing to Benjamin Netanyahu as he goes to Auschwitz with Ben Shapiro in a PR campaign that's helping tens of thousands of children get killed. It's insanity, and it's pushing towards World War III, which allows...
Okay. This is
us to bring in...
Moving on. It's near the end of the stream. I'm not dealing with this shit.
15-minute cities, emergency declarations, conscription, destruction of the supply chain, shutting down the Red Sea, all this kind of stuff.
Wow, he's just vomiting.
In order to bring us into that great reset. So he's complicit in this, 100%. And there's so many ways that he's complicit in this. It's not just the carbon tax, which again, not only does it not work, but it's wrong. It's just plain wrong. And it just led to higher prices on everything in places like Norway. And the same thing happened in Canada. They already have an eco...
Do you understand that higher prices might mean that fewer things get sold, which would lower the production burden that causes whatever is causing the emissions? Like, that would be it working as intended. Right? Like, not in its totality, but to some extent, if the price is higher, to make up for that, fewer people are going to buy the product, and therefore there's less consumption, less demand, less need to produce it, which is causing the emission problem. That would be a part of it.
Tax, a plastic tax, a recycling tax. They have a CO2 tax. They have carbon taxes. They have taxes on everything. Environment taxes. They have taxes just for bike lanes. I mean, my goodness, it's so ridiculous. Well, now we have all this stuff being pushed by Elon that is literally from our common future out of the United Nations Sustainable Development back in the 80s, which led to Agenda 21, with the depopulation agenda to kill off 60% of the world, which...
That's not a thing. All right. He's already given me conspiracy overload, so I'm done with him.
When it comes to tennis, there's no bigger name than Novak Djokovic. Many consider, of course, the greatest tennis player currently playing the game. And when reaching that highest level, when it comes to...
He could literally be making this person up. I don't know, tennis things.
...to tennis or any professional sports for that matter, you're going to be recruited, you're going to be pulled in to Freemasonry.
Skip his
and as you can
says,
see
please
from the
vote.
one-eye symbolism.
Agreed, please vote.
Definitely, he's one of them. And when it comes down to it, with the latest happenings in the tennis world, specifically with the Australian Open, here you see Novak Djokovic with this exchange with another famous tennis player from Australia from Greek origins, Nick Kyrgios. And take a look here at his hat. He has the horned bull symbolism.
That's the Hook'em Horns Texas mascot. That's the mascot for a sports team. Probably more than one sports team, but my aunt went to the Texas college where that was like the thing.
Let's take a listen to this exchange here. What is said here is 100% scripted.
So I know there's a tree in the Royal Botanical Gardens that you go to and you hug, and I don't know what you do. But can you just show me which tree that is? Because I need to get healthy. Because I'm sick of you winning on this court.
Sorry, you're right. I think that is the Chicago Bulls logo. It looks a little similar to what I'm thinking of. The Longhorns.
I just want to come back.
I'm thinking of the Longhorns. This is Chicago Bulls.
Maybe once and beat you one time. Yeah. Show me the tree. Where's the tree?
Okay, I'll show you the tree, but you can't tell anyone. It's a big secret. So what you got to do is take off your shoes, climb the tree, the highest point, and hang upside down on one of the highest branches for 33 minutes and 3 seconds. And you're going to win a slam.
You see the Masonic handshake as well, and this is...
That's a handshake.
Of course, 100% blasphemy against Jesus Christ here, talking about the tree. And you also notice Novak, where I call him Novax, and that's what he's known for as well. He's playing that role on the world stage. You see him doing the 666 hand sign, of course, in the A, obviously shaped as a pyramid. But first, let's mention when he talks about hanging upside down from the tree for 33 minutes and 3 seconds.
Everything's a goddamn conspiracy.
Of course, that's 33 and a third. And that gets into Hollywood with a lot of truth in plain sight. And the masses have no idea of the meaning. Just like you see here with the movie, The Naked Gun.
33 and a third. Oh, God. Police Squad is in on it. No, that's a joke because Police Squad, or rather, Naked Gun. Naked Gun is a movie based on the TV show Police Squad, which ran for 1 season, starring Leslie Nielsen. So the first one's called Naked Gun. The second one is called Naked Gun 2.5 because it's a spoof satire movie, so it's a joke about sequels. Like, our movie isn't just the sequel, it's 2.5, so it's like the sequel and a half. So the third one, they took the joke even further and made it Naked Gun 33 and a third. 33 is also a third of 100. Just sounds nice. 33 and a third. So that's why it's called that. I own this movie.
And a third. People go see these movies and don't ask questions. Why is it titled 33 and a third with the...
Why is this movie titled Leonard Part 6? I could not find Leonard Parts 1 through 5.
Naked Gun movie. People just have no idea what's taking place in this world full of deception. But again, they put the truth in plain sight with these little Easter eggs, just like Back to the Future in the scene with the third and the all-seeing eye within the pyramid. And I should mention...
That's a psychic shop. See, this is a scene, and this is the set dressing from the 1985 version of Hill Valley in the movie Back to the Future. It's my 4K Back to the Future trilogy. There's my credentials for you. This is the... Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies of all time. Favorite movie trilogy of all time, for sure. 1 second, I gotta get this back. It's gonna bug me if it's not straight. Okay. So this is Hill Valley in the 1980s. We also, in the movie, because it's a time travel movie, see it in the 50s. There's a juxtaposition happening. In the 50s, this is a diner, and whatever's next to it is like a travel agency or something. I know that street has a travel agency on it. It's the same road that Biff walks down. In the second movie, when he sees Lorraine with her prom dress or whatever and tries to steal it. Anyway, the point is, this is supposed to indicate economic downturn. It's supposed to show, like, urban decay by 1985 because it's an aerobics place that's dirty and a psychic. There's also a porno theater across the corner on that set. The idea is it is supposed to indicate visually to the audience, oh, in the 50s, this was a thriving small town. By the 80s, decay has set in, and it's sort of like gone to shit. That's the point. It's a psychic, because psychics are a scam. Whew, that felt like a long walk off a short pier.
Mention the eye within the pyramid itself. The inner angles of a pyramid are 60 degrees. You take away the zero.
That's just math.
The numerology, the zeros mean nothing. You get.
That's because the interior angles of a triangle always have to add up to 180 degrees. So if you have an equilateral triangle, by definition, it is always going to be 60, 60, 60, because that is 180 divided by 3 exactly.
666. But getting back to the whole...
That's not 666. That's 360s.
Whole concept, once again, of the 33 and a third comes from the Bible, as you see here from Revelation. It represents a third of the stars or angels, which I've mentioned before. Stars and angels are interchangeable. So these are the fallen angels. There's good and bad angels. And Lucifer, or Polaris, and a third of his angels thrown to this world from heaven. And obviously with the dialogue between Novak and Nick, you heard the mention of the tree, again, hanging upside down for 33 minutes and 3 seconds. So this is another code right here when it comes down to it. It's mentioned 4 times in the Bible about how Jesus was hung from a tree. This is from Acts 5:30, King James Version, where it states, "The God of our fathers raised up Jesus, whom ye slew and hanged on a tree." So there could be a discussion, there could be argument if Jesus was hung from a cross or a tree. It could be.
Poetic language is a big problem for some of these people, too. You see this with people who take literalist interpretations of Genesis for creation as well, incapable of understanding poetic choices in words.
A combination of both, where Jesus was hung within a cross on a tree. Whatever the case is, this is biblical. This is from the Bible, where the tree is mentioned, where Jesus was crucified on a tree. And here you see Novak doing the Jesus pose with one arm extended, just like he's...
That feels a little... Like, if I was Jesus, I'd be upset if this became known as the Jesus pose. Like, all of the things Jesus did, and your understanding of the Jesus pose is just when they were dying in agony. That's a shame. That's a shame.
He's being crucified. Make no mistake about it, this is 100% mockery. Now let's take a listen to this.
Maybe it's the I'm king of the world pose, like Titanic. Or just a general basking. It's a general basking. It's a gamer pose. He's T-posing.
Segment here from The Guardian, and...
Oh my god, I love that shirt. Someone give me that shirt. It reminds me of Al's hand link from Quantum Leap. I want it so bad.
Before even playing the video, actually, take a look here as you see the 2 trees, almost like pillars, and definitely make no mistake about it, this whole scene here is by design, where you see the uncapped pyramid type building with the columns here above the triangle.
That's neoclassical architecture again. That's not nefarious. It's Roman.
Type pyramid structure here as well in the very face of the building. Again, coded with 100%. Make no mistake about it. Let's take a listen here to what this individual says. It's a numbers game. Always by the numbers. Symbolism as well. Let's take a listen.
I'm here at the Royal Melbourne Botanical Gardens today on a very important mission, to find Novak Djokovic's magical tree. So if you haven't heard, the world #1 tennis star revealed to reporters last week that there is one very special tree here that he has a close relationship with going back 15 years.
Do you think it's Satanic or Tartarian? That's actually a good question. Does They Live do the Tartaria stuff? I'm actually not sure off the top of my head. I don't remember.
15 years. And that's the key here. Let's continue on.
Obviously, I'm keen to get in on some of this tree's magic power. However, Djokovic has been a little bit secretive about its exact location.
And again, here he is on the tree. Now, again, I mentioned the number 15 is mentioned. And that gets into the runic...
Maybe the tree is where he has a small trickle fountain. That's the Fountain of Youth. What movie is that? Am I thinking of it? What movie is that? Tuck Everlasting? Am I thinking of Tuck Everlasting?
Wheel, the Germanic runic wheel, and just take a look at that number 15. Okay, this is the cross. Make no mistake about it. And take a look here. I mentioned this before in a previous video from years ago when it comes to the Kennedy Space Center. As you see here with the orange tracks, of course, orange being 33. The oversized vehicle, it's interesting, the number 15. Take a look here.
It's $15. Normal-sized cars are only $10.
Here.
Buses cost $15.
At the runway.
Are buses specifically demonic?
It's a single runway, but each end has its own number. Number 33, as you can see here, with the very face, the very front of the runway. Now, the landing aspect coming back in is number 15. So you have your 33 and 15. Again, going back to the video.
I would imagine that those indicate to the pilots if they need to look down and visually confirm where they are, that means something. Like, they would say, I don't know how air traffic control works, but maybe they'd be like, hey, touchdown at 15, something 15. I don't know what they would call it.
With Novak mentioning 33 and a third, in this one individual mentioning the number 15. This is not by chance, not by coincidence, with 33 and 15 being mentioned. And of course, Kennedy being 33 numerology as well, to go along with the 15. And to be concise about it, 33 is the supposed age of when Jesus Christ was crucified. Doesn't say that in the Bible specifically. The number 33 is not mentioned, but many believe...
DM Trey says, I know air traffic control, you are correct.
It was 33 years old when Jesus Christ was crucified. And 15, once again, stands for the cross. So this is all coded for Jesus Christ being crucified on the cross at 33 years of age. Now, again, the number...
Can we bring Taylor into this one? I'm afraid it'll...
Game. Take a look here. With Novak Djokovic's streaks being...
330 is the reciprocal heading for runway 150. That meant something.
At Wimbledon...
I don't know what reciprocal means in this. Like, I know what reciprocal broadly means, but like...
In the Australian Open, both after exactly 2,195 days. In the one individual here, the first one in 2023 at, as you see here, Wimbledon, Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. What a very interesting name. A man named Sinner beat Novak or Novaks. Unbelievable.
Really?
And this is truly unbelievable here. Take a look here. As you see here, Novak Djokovic and Jannik Sinner after...
I miss John McEnroe. Alright. I think I'm going to call it for the day. We've been going for almost 4 hours. So I think that's it for Tinfoil Tuesday. We had a bingo winner and everything, so that's nice. Good to be back. Glad to have another good Tinfoil Tuesday. Thanks everyone for hanging out, showing up, having a good time. Whatever. I'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday. What are we gonna do tomorrow? Been a while since Chud Watch. Probably Chud Watch. Maybe see what Donald Trump has been up to. Some other stuff. You're fine, Phoenix. 330 minus 180 equals 150. That makes sense. Anyway, sorry you only caught the end, Carb Cozian. The VOD will be up, though, so you can enjoy that. Alright, have a great night, everyone. See you soon, and be cool. Bye. Oh, and love you, Mr. Blast.